Yes, blessed love, family, blessed love. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Sorry for the wait, my people. Sorry I'm late. You know how it goes anyway. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy day. I thought going on at 10 o'clock would make all the difference. Tonight it hasn't, because I've just been busy. Yes, blessed love, people, blessed love. So the laptop I was using just now started updating in the middle of what I'm doing. It's been one of those techie days. Good job we have two laptops. So I hope you guys can hear me now. I've jumped on the slower laptop, so it might be a little bit slow until the other one uploads, and then I'll jump back on that. Jesus Christ. There's always a techie thing going on. Put a one up if you guys can hear me if I'm back. Can you guys hear me? You guys hear me? Put a one up. My thing, oh, it's perfect now. All right, brilliant, 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 brilliant. Yes, my brothers and sisters, the tech thing. Do you know what? I've kind of taken a back seat from being able to just pump out faces and cases, and there's a lot that goes into that, and by the time you guys see the cases that come to light, by the time a face goes up on Instagram, by the time we tell a story here or a victim comes on to tell their story, we have already been working on that for quite some time. That person has been in contact for a while, and we've done our due diligence and what it is that we have to do. But I've really been taking stock of the fight, because I'm so appreciative and I'm so grateful of the people that support our fight, because our fight isn't about the general things. It's about something that has been hidden for so very long in our community, something that, unless you really understand the deeper nuances of the things that we fight for, you won't understand how that is interconnected to absolutely everything that ails us in this present time. Do you understand? That's what people don't seem to get. And unless you were really on that journey from, we're 91% complete, by the way, my brothers and sisters, on the faster computer where I can keep up in real time with you guys. I can't see any moderators tonight, but I'm sure they're here. I know they're here. They must be here. I'm operating in like a 2-minute delay on this laptop because it's really slow and rubbish. But the other one's saying that it's going to configure quite soon. And there was a particular video, that's the reason I was late actually, was because I wanted to upload a video. I'm going to tell a story tonight, guys, that I wanted to kind of show you that story as opposed to just telling you it. There is definitely enough footage of me on that journey for me to be able to tell it. Let's wait for this to configure, because I hate this laptop. I can't even communicate. But before we get to the bigger matters of tonight, we're expanding. 2023 I've been saying it from the beginning of this year for those that care to listen. I was saying that if you've been on the journey from day one, you won't, if you haven't been on the journey from day one, you won't really understand this mission. People jump in and out. It's been 2 years tomorrow, by the way, people. 2 years tomorrow since I called out Vincent Wright, and I'm going to put a little tribute to that on Instagram tomorrow. But it's been 2 years since I did that video. Since I was in Tanzania, I got that horrible phone call from my daughter's godmother, my good friend, and I was driven to do what I did. Do you understand? So when people talk about clout and all the rest of it, they can talk what they like. Unless you were there for, unless you're a day oneer, you won't really get the full extent of what it is we're doing here, why it is that we're here, what the whole point of it is. Do you understand? You won't really get it because there is a point to this, and this thing grew and it evolved from that time till now, from that time till tomorrow, 2 years exactly. It grew organically to where we are with it today. So people jump on at various points within that process and they make assumptions. They really, really do. They make assumptions. They assume that we're telling lies, or I'm telling lies. They assume, some people, that all I do is just go around setting people up, telling lies on them, and none of what I'm saying is true. This is what people usually assume. Or sometimes they assume, well, you know, maybe that one was true because nobody can deny the Vincent Wright thing, not legitimately. But the rest of it can't be true because this and that and the devil knows what. So we're used to all of that. That's not why we're here. We've put in so many different cases. When I say we, I can only do so much. And I keep repeating it. Unless you're a day oneer, you won't understand. And I'll keep having to repeat it. We can only encourage the victims who come to us, who tell their stories, or who we tell their stories for them, to go to the police. Many of them already have been to the police. That's the issue. Many of them have years ago. There has been sometimes multiple reports, attempts to reopen cases. And when they feel they have no other recourse, they come to us with their evidence, which is usually in the form of something like that. The other thing about evidence is, because it's happened a lot in my comments and DMs and whatever today, about the usual stuff, you know, that people bang on about, is that we reveal and speak only what we know will not harm any of our cases. And what is not a case, we'll speak everything, because it's not a case. The person doesn't want to go to the police, they've tried and failed, or whatever the scenario will be. So it's a mixed bag. And it's not every single thing that we show the public, people. It's not everything, because sometimes it's about police cases, but also it's about snaring in other victims. And if you show too much, or also safeguarding victims. So sometimes if you show too much of the story, the story in itself will reveal to the perpetrator who that victim actually is, and we're trying to safeguard them. So we're about exposing that person, getting the information out there, letting the community know who's walking amongst them. When we know what we know, and sometimes what we know is passed to the police, whatever they do with it, which actually to date has not been enough and definitely won't be. Yeah, they're more happy chasing me. Yeah, this is what happens. And we can't force anyone to go to the police. Many people don't want to. We would like them to bring a case, but many people don't want to. That is our ultimate end game, is what I'm saying, when we do what we do, my brothers and sisters. So people need to just stop getting it twisted. And here I go again, having to repeat myself. For me, the reason that I don't over-explain that every single live is because I'm tired. I don't want to have to explain that every single bloody live. I really, really don't. And the burning questions that plague me in my DMs 24/7, the burning questions that plague me 24/7 in my DMs, I also don't want to have to keep either avoiding or having to keep repeating myself to people that ask me individual questions. It's just really difficult, and it's a massive distraction, because going forward in 2023, we are about hammering down all the work that we've done so far. We are about bringing new work, and whatever comes our way in terms of exposures and people that need to be outed and all those sorts of things. But we're also about expanding that work. I've talked to you about the paedophile hunting group. That's more certain, that work. It's more immediate. We can catch people in the act with that one. You know, historic cases will always be dealt with on this platform. Don't make no bones about it. You know, as long as they keep coming and I keep getting told, people need to understand I don't go looking for these stories. But as long as that keeps happening, I will keep telling. But other than that, there's a big world of pedophiles and rapists and people like that out there that it would be very easy to be able to snare them in certain circumstances. So we're going to expand that work, and we're also going to press along the legal route in terms of what we've done so far. Because it's not just going to be, well, we make reports and the usual stuff, it falls by the wayside and they say NFA because there ain't enough evidence. That's not good enough at this stage in the game. This is about a national inquiry. This is actually a national scandal. That's what this is, you know? It's a national scandal. So we need to tell those stories. We need to keep telling them. But we also need, I know the members of the platform, I'll get to that. But we need to do that. Listen, people have to understand I'm one person. It's really difficult. The members of the platform originally were supposed to get more content. I understand that. I've got X amount going on in my corner, my brothers and sisters. If anyone feels robbed or anything, I would respectfully say to them, at this stage, it's not that it won't come, it will come. I will give you more value for your subscription. And I think that's only right and proper. Some people say, well, don't worry about it, Afua. We do that as a way of supporting the movement. Great. But I still believe that members deserve extra content. It's the time, it's the focus, it's being able to juggle everything. So I beg your pardon, sister, if it's a brother or sister, I don't know. But we will get to that stage in the game. I promise you. Once things are settled, there are certain things that need to be put to bed and put out of the way at the moment, as some of you well know. And when that happens, I will have the space to be able to give you something. I know there's nothing been there for a long time. I do apologize. But at the same time, as I say, it's difficult out here on the front line. And it will come. It will come. It will definitely come. Honestly, just hang in there with me, okay? So these are the things. Yeah, I know they don't have to expect content, but you know what? I believe people deserve it. You know, I believe people deserve it. So at the end of the day, it's not a bad question, and I should be able to do that. And I will get round to it because I really want to sort of bespoke that. And that's on the cards in terms of what we're doing moving forward and where we're going with stuff, you know? Yeah, it's not a problem. No, it's not a problem, Paula. It's good. I can see the sister's good intentions. But yeah, man, it's a question. It's a question that deserves to be asked. I want to be frank tonight because I think there's things that need to be swept away before we get down to the real meat and potatoes and what it is that we're planning for the year ahead. This should be about wind down time. I should be able to take, after 2 years of hard slog, a break from everything and things still sort of keep ticking over. And that can happen, you know, that is going to happen as well. There's going to come a point between, you know, the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, when I'm just going to kind of go offline for a little while, you know, not too long, but enough time for me to recuperate, because it's been a journey, people. I was reflecting on it today and saying 2 whole years, man, 2 whole years of every week doing the same thing every day, to be fair, because in between the lives and the videos and whatever else I've been doing, there's a whole thing that goes on, a whole scene, a whole effort that goes on in between all of that in order to talk to you guys online. You know, there's a whole thing that goes on. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of catch up and reflect, and for people to understand, those of you that don't know already, and I'm sure that's most of you that do, for why it is that we're here and how far we've come with things. Because when I started out, I never thought that I'd be doing weekly lives. Everything has come organically. It's been like, why don't you do this? People need that. You know, people in my DM saying, Afua, you need to do this. We need that. Brilliant. You're doing this. You know, that's all the encouragement. But we know about the onslaught. We know about the stupid people. We've had some in our DMs over the last couple of days with what I've put out. And we already know who these people are. A wise person, a person who I respect very much. I spoke to that person today and they were saying, you know, you need to stop reacting, Afua. And they're absolutely right. But because I'm a spiritual, organic, spontaneous, open being, I'm like that. You know, I've been told all my life, you need to stop reacting. But I guess I'm an empath. I soak it all up. And I don't want I don't want no one to feel away at the end of the day. I give as good as I get. When you're insulting and talking rubbish, and I know that you're uninformed and you're coming from a space that isn't worthy of a decent response, yeah, I'm going to lash out. I'm going to say the things that I say at the end of the day. But fundamentally, it's about the community and what we're doing. So that kind of leads me up to, I'm still trying to get this video. It's a video of myself participating in the Battle of Trafalgar. I might put it up on Instagram if I can get to convert it, because I've sent it via my drive, and it's just, I don't know what I'm doing at the end of the day. I don't know what I'm doing, people. Let me try and jump back on this other laptop because this one's jarring me. So I'm going to do that now. Yeah, I'm going to do that now. And then I'm going to come off of this one. I think technology will allow it. It's so much better on this one. Let me just do that now, people. And then we'll get to talking about what we're going to talk about tonight. I think this is it. Yep, this is it. This is good. Okay. Here we go. Right, I think that's it. I think that's fixed the problem. I hope it has. I hope it has anyway. So yeah, I think I'm back on. I feel much more comfortable now. So yeah, it's been a journey, people. It's been a journey. And if any of you were in activism 30, 25, 20 years ago, 15 years ago even, you will remember the work that I've been doing along the piece. If you've ever worked in the public sector in this country, whether that's social care, criminal justice, education, and these sectors, you will also know the work that I've been doing prior to the His Time Is Up campaign. So I've told my story here before, and I've also shared what I did in the past in terms of activism and how I ended up in prison and all of that stuff that I've shared on this platform. So I think it's disingenuous not to be honest about who you actually are. You know, people come and they do what they do, but they're not often honest with themselves. They're emotionally dishonest, and that's not the way that I work. But waffle. I wanted to come on here today to tell the story of why it is that the organization that I belong to does not appear to be. I've got a flickery screen. This one's even worse. I think I need two whole new laptops. That's what's going on, because this one, I hope, can you guys see me? Because to myself, I'm flickering on the screen on the actual platform. So I don't know if that's happening at your end. I hope not. But yeah, I wanted to tell the story of my journey with that, because I have been getting harangued, I will call it. I've been getting DM'd consistently for the past 2 years, ever since I put out the Vincent Wright video. That's what's been happening. And I've come to a point, I've never spoken on it. I think a couple of weeks ago, for the first time, I said something publicly in terms of calling a name, and really sort of alluded to the fact that it might be time that I need to start talking about that. And in terms of the journey for myself, it is time for myself, I think, to not have to hold on to that anymore. I'm doing a lot of sweeping out right now in terms of things that I'm holding, things that I'm carrying emotionally. Does that make sense, people? I'm doing a lot of that right now. So that's part of that process. And because it's been sort of niggling at me, and because people send me stuff, people that are in the know, people that were harmed in similar ways that I was, in terms of the time that we put into that organization, and how it ended up. You know, I get sent things because I don't really follow any of it, to be fair. I speak to individuals. I'm still friends with individuals. You know, one of the things about Forever Family is that it was I say, because I've had many experiences along those years in terms of groups of like-minded, able, skilled, talented Black people being drawn together over an event, a trauma in the community. That's not the first time that's happened, but it was the first time that it had happened in a generation. And I can bear witness to that because I've been around for a couple of generations and I've seen that journey. So I want to tell that story tonight, and I want to tell that story to put the record straight. I want to kind of take you through it. I'm really hoping I can upload the Battle of Trafalgar. If not, I'm going to give you an audio of it. We might have to start with that because it's such an important part of how I ended up being a part of Forever Family. So in answer to all your questions that's been raging for 2 years, because I really haven't said it, and I actually don't really want to, in a sense. But sometimes I get little videos and I get things and I think, I think back to my teacher and the ilk that I come from in terms of black development and community championship. We have a moral responsibility, those of us that put our heads above the parapet and say that we are standing for issues in our Black community. Some people call that Black leadership. I just call that Black empowerment and Black example, because I don't really want to lead nobody. Do you know what I mean? The amount that I've got on my plate, I don't think I would do people justice. I don't want to lead anything. I raise awareness. I've got a big mouth. I hate holding on to things. I hate disingenuous conversations and people. I'm much rather have a conversation in your face. Let's have it out. Let's be open. And we can hug up back again after that. If everyone is on the same level, with the same non-agenda, the same lack of ego, the same love in their heart for their brother or sister, we can have a right old tear up in my world and hug up back again after that and do the works. That's what I'm about, you know, and that's what I've always been about. Ask anybody who really knows me from my life over the last 53 years. They will tell you that's how I stay, you know, and that translates itself into how I interact at work, with my children, in my peer groups, friendship groups, family, and in the work I do in the community. It just translates. What you see here is what you get. There's nobody that's going to tell you they know Afua personally, and this is not what she's on. This is not what I'm doing. You know, there's nobody that's going to tell you that. Despite what all these stupid people say, what makes me laugh about social media is that all the things that people say about me now online and people could read and everyone gets on it and some people believe it and some people band it about as truth. This was probably the stuff that all the haters was whispering in closed doors and whatever back in the day. Because let me tell you something. My journey in this thing, my brothers and sisters, with His Time Is Up being just the latest campaign, has been exactly what this is. I left activism, you know. How can I be? Bless up, LB. You done know. You kill me. The level of activism, I left that behind. You know, I was in that deep from the late 80s right up until around the kind of early to mid 2000s, right through. And for a whole decade, I went to ground, almost a decade. After I did my sentence and all of the treachery that went on around that, because let us not forget that was a mission that I was on that I got used in and set up, and it ended in that. So it wasn't so much about the sentence and what happened and me having to go to jail and losing my life and all this, you know, the life that I built for myself and my children and having to rebuild that. It was also about the betrayals within the spaces that I was in and the people that I was working with for the betterment of our people, and having to see everybody's colors. You know, that was a real knock to me, because at that point in the game, I really did see the world through my own tinted glasses, in the sense that I thought everybody was down for the cause with heart, mind, soul, and spirit in the way that I was, because they said they were. You know, I was a bit naive when I really think back about it. I was streetwise, I was tough, I was all of these things as a younger, but I just thought that every person was in the struggle in the way that I was. And when I saw that it wasn't about that, You know, that actually took out the bottom of my world at that point. That's what it did. So I went to ground as a sort of single functioning, single cell, if you like, you know, having no alliances to nobody. I cut off the old guard, and many of them are still around today, you know. Some of them I've caught up and had conversations with. Some of them I haven't. Some of them I was, and they've backed away since I started doing this campaign, which is very interesting. But I don't really care about them. They're old. They're the old guard. So just before lockdown, just before the whole George Floyd thing, maybe about kind of 3 years or so, 2 to 3 years before the whole lockdown George Floyd thing or whatever. I don't know what sparked it, but I started to raise my head above the parapet again. I kind of looked back into my old community, you know, the old works, if you like, in terms of activism. I was in my own world, making my own stands in my world, at work, whatever. But I put down a lot of activities from what I'd done before. So I kind of looked around, you know, at the landscape, and I'd been to a few events, and a couple of people were like, oh, you know, Afua's popped back up, wow, wow, wow. And that was more sort of the inroad to that was more through the work that I do on stage and, you know, performance, poetry, singing, performance, whatever. So I started to go back in via that route because I just left all of it after I came out, you know. So I started to do that, and I came across a few individuals. And one of those individuals that lit my fire in terms of saying, we got some new blood coming. This is brilliant. This isn't the old guard. This is new blood. One of those people was Respect Firebingi, as he was known at that time. I believe he calls himself now Respect Rebellion. But in my mind, Respect Firebingi was always going to be his name. That's how I met him, with locks. And it was at some kind of event. And I remember thinking, who is that little you? He's on fire. Wow. You know? So yeah, I started to kind of be more interested in what was going on out there and what was happening. But I never saw that youth again. I never saw him again after that until about a month and a half before lockdown and the George Floyd thing and that whole era was the next time I saw him, which would have been a good couple of years later. And I was doing something at LSE, London School of Economics. He was speaking as well there. And I bumped into him again, along with one of his right-hand men and somebody else that I know, you know. So again, a connection was made at that point, and we swapped numbers the first time, but obviously both of us had forgotten that we swapped numbers and nobody bothered to connect with each other, and that was that. So when we met each other the second time, we swapped numbers again and then realized, well, actually, you've got your number. I've got your number in my phone. So that was an interesting thing as well. But on the back of that, there was no more connection made. Nobody called each other, blah, blah, blah. So about a month and a half later, lockdown's calm. I'm doing my thing. And my daughter's starting to teach me how to use the gram. So I'm starting to watch it, you know, for the first time. And Respect came up in my feed. And it was all about what was happening in the community and what he was doing and da-da-da. And for the first time, I was kind of opened up to the world of Instagram in the sense that, you know, you can really put a message out with this thing. Wow, it's great. So I was jumping on these lives, and I was really, really inspired by the youth, because what he represented in my mind and in the minds of a lot of people that were drawn into Forever Family, what he represented for us, and certainly for myself coming from that other generation, was new blood. A new hope for our community in the sense of young people having a focal point and a mouthpiece, a voice that's speaking up for them, you know? I think those of us from my ilk certainly could see that he was rough at the edges, but I kind of like that. I like anything that's raw, you know? And I think it's high time that we sort of came out of this expectation that when we address ourselves that we have to be super, super professional as if we were at work. You know, I don't think we have to do that. I think we can be chameleons. And I felt, and I know other people felt as well, that that individual needed to be taught how to be a chameleon in order to be more effective, because he was all about the street, you know, nothing wrong with that. but he was all about the street, and he needed that refinement. You know, that was what my initial interest was. And once it all came together, I realized that there were other older heads in the organization, that what became an organization, that also had that as an interest for them. You know, that was what I was invested in, along with other people, is supporting that youth, giving him the tools through our knowledge, experience, and understanding, in order for him to shine, you know. And if that is perceived that he's leading and that he's going to lead the organization and be the front and the face of the organization, no problem with that, because it isn't about the old guard. It's not about saying, well, you know, I've got the experience and I should be doing it because I've got this. That's Eurocentric for me. You know, it's all about supporting the youth. There's a reason why Africa has the most amount of young people on the planet, you know, who are the ones that are at the forefront, because the older people know when it's their time to step back and support the youngers from the rear. You know, over here, every man wants to do that until he's 955. Even the Queen of England didn't want to step aside for the youth. You know, it's a very Eurocentric way of doing things and thinking. But that's not where we were at. So I was jumping on the lives, and then a battle cry was put out around the time of the George Floyd protests. Tommy Robinson running up his mouth online, talking about what he was going to do to people and all the rest of it. Yeah, let me just catch this comment. I just saw something that caught my eye, people. Hold on. It's going to be a very organic live tonight because I've got no structure. Oh, okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. I will deal with that. So in watching these lives, Raspet put out a call for people to come to Trafalgar Square to support a cause whereby Tommy Robinson and people like that had said that they were going to attack aunties, older women and children, and just women in general at Trafalgar Square. So there were two marches going on that day. There was one being held at Parliament Square over a series of ones. I'd attended a few of those in the whole George Floyd thing. Now, I've never been down with Black Lives Matter as an organization. I saw through that straight away in the very beginning. What I was down with was the wave, the movement, the fact that I had not seen this type of movement and mobilization from our people in a generation. And the conversation between Black people and the establishment and white people had been opened up again for the first time again in a generation. That's what I was excited about. That's why I joined the protest. That's what why I ended up at Trafalgar Square when this young youth, in my opinion, put out a call for people to attend, because, you know, we were in battle mode, and I was excited also about reaffirming and reawakening my own soldier juices, if you like. Do you know what I mean? In my middle age, because it had been a whole decade since I'd put boots on the ground in that way. You understand? Yeah, man, I disappeared for a while, and it was really interesting because before I bumped into Raspet and I started coming back onto things, people seemed nervous. Sister Afua was back. What's she going to say and do this time and whatever? And I really didn't, think about that. I didn't realize until I went away and come back the way that I was viewed in that regard. So doing what I'm doing now with His Time Is Up campaign, and the fact that it's reached a whole new audience, a new generation, a new set of people who had no idea what was going on before because they weren't in those Afrocentric circles, to see that, it's a true wonder of modern technology, but at the same time, it brings a load of nastiness and foolishness behind it, and people chatting what they really do not know. So basically, it was through love that I came to know Raspet, through the love of my community and the love of any youth that would stand up and speak on behalf of their community in the way that he did, and very powerfully. He was what I call ghetto articulate, and that's really needed with the youth of today because they don't really respond to much else. So very effective in that way, I thought, at that time. So with the Battle of Trafalgar, I wanted to show the video of what happened that day, one from my own collection, because there's many accounts of what happened that day. You know, people have got their own footage and stuff online. There's a really good account of what happened that day from a brother called Shaka Ra, whose father I know extremely well from the old days in terms of activism. So he's bona fide, but he's got a channel called Got Kush TV, and that gives you a real account of what happened at the Battle of Trafalgar. So if you want to see that and you want to see my part in it, because some of that is captured towards the end, you can go over there and look at that. But I was going to show actually from my own POV what that was. I'm going to play it actually, maybe from my phone if I can get it out, so that you might maybe, because you can sort of tell from the audio what's sort of happening, and I am talking on it as well a little bit and saying what I'm saying. So it might give you an idea, but hopefully you might be able to see it at some point. Not uploaded it, but there you go. Rest up and listen to this. So this is basically how I came to be in Forever Family. Forever Family was started because of that shout. The shout that I answered after listening to Respect on an Instagram and arriving at Trafalgar Square along with a lot of other people, whereby we were outnumbered and attacked by white racist thugs, for those of you that don't know, that wasn't shown on the news. All they showed was a black guy carrying a racist thug to safety, and that was the only bit that reached the news. They didn't show how it started, that we were peacefully there because it was a sort of anti-gang protest, and the only reason we went there was because intelligence told us that those people would be attacked, and you know, that's why more people attended, but it wasn't that many of us. There was a whole load of them, and that happened, and we were under attack in a way that I hadn't really seen since growing up as a young girl in racist East London with skinheads attacking us. I hadn't seen it like that in a long time, so it was quite the experience. Have a listen to this and see if you guys can get the gist. Over there, they're behind the police, so grab them up like you would us, isn't it? Okay, good. Why ain't no police over there? They're behind the police, so grab them up like you would us, isn't it? Okay, good. So they bought firecrackers, yeah, they're allowed to do that on the train, yeah? But we come here unarmed. But you know what, it's good. The scenes on the TV, yeah, sorry, they're coming. The scenes on the TV should show that we're being attacked. You can see all racist bastards throwing firecrackers on us, yeah, throwing bear cans at us. making racist chants. This is what they're doing in London right now. That's what they're doing. And our brothers are going to defend themselves. But we ain't the aggressors. We ain't the aggressors. We ain't the aggressors. If they hurt a sister, you know it's going to go off though. So yes, like that's just that's quite a long one, and I'm not gonna go too much into that, but you get a gist of it, and you can hear me talking, so you know I was there. And that was the very first time that I had ever met Respect. It was a brief interaction that day because there was a lot of people there. Obviously, he didn't know me. He knew me from the lives because I'd come on a couple of times. And he was always really encouraging. It's all like, yeah, Sister Afua, come on the live to tell us how it goes, this kind of thing, you know, how Respect is. So, you know, we had faith in the brother, and that was a really defining moment. If you had been there when that happened, it was something happened in the atmosphere, in the universe, something happened divinely, that if you had been there, there was a shared experience that couldn't be broken after that. Well, at least so I thought. But something happened to draw all of us together. So on the back of that event that day, Respect had more lives, and those lives turned into, we should put an organization together. And that just spiraled like organically, really, really quickly. And what was drawn together was a set of really special people. That's what I really want to say. I'm not here tonight to disparage Forever Family, the efforts that went into it, all the energies, including Respect's efforts that went into it on a good day. I'm not here to do that because I have nothing against Forever Family. As a concept, as an organization, it is absolutely fabulous, in my opinion. What I have a problem with, my brothers and sisters, number one, as an individual, when it comes on to the His Time Is Up campaign and all that type of stuff, but number two, as a community champion and as somebody who is active in the community, is that I just can't sit back anymore and not tell the story for so many different reasons, and which I'm going to take you through. Bear with me because it's really important for me to tell this story and for you to understand the backdrop that leads me up to telling this story with a heavy heart, because I don't really want to do it. I could have told this story 2 years ago. You understand? There's been lots of different things that's happened along the way that are utterly disrespectful. And I could have told that story a couple of years ago. I could have told it a year ago. I could have told it 6 months ago. I'm choosing to tell it now because that's the season that I'm in for myself personally. Yeah. I'm clearing away a lot of cobwebs, and that's one of the cobwebs around me at the moment, you know, because it wasn't a joke thing. It's not just any organization that we joined or put together. It really wasn't. People put their heart and their soul into Forever Family. People gave up their time. We weren't looking for payment, you know, because there was a belief that something could potentially, we had something that could potentially affect change. I think everybody was invested in believing that. And because people were tired, there'd been a whole generation from my old guard that really had stopped their activities because we were broken apart for various reasons. And I said that very early on in the Forever Family days. I'm coming with that, and I really want to try to put in place mechanisms whereby all the old mistakes that were made won't be made here, you know, and a lot of people were invested in that as well. Unfortunately, the things that impede individuals in our community as individuals is still ever present, and it's present in young Black leadership. It's present in youngers who stand up and say that they're doing for the community. It's the same old for me, because the same traits, the same egos, the same inability to accept the criticism, all of that type of stuff, the same inability, not the same inhumility that causes them not to accept leadership from their elders, you know, to dismiss that, not to hear or read the room of their community and do what the people intend for them to do. You know, it's just same old for me. So I wasn't on that. I was a clean slate. I thought I was dealing with fresh blood. Thanks, Alkaline B. I thought I was dealing with flesh, blood, and on it went. So Battle of Trafalgar happened, and then we saw, or you guys saw, the public saw the 1st of August. So Battle of Trafalgar was in like June of that year, 2020. And by August 2020, we had put a security squad on the street in full military regalia, paramilitary regalia, and took the country by storm. There was every newspaper the next day had the story of what had happened in Brixton, and we didn't even do anything but march, really. You know, people were afraid. We had something very powerful. Now, if that thing had been managed right, if that thing had been allowed to grow in the way that it was ordained to grow, then it would still be a powerful thing, in my opinion. And it wouldn't have had to be rocked right down to its very rafters again and having to rebuild. And somebody sent me a video of Respect, actually, which I don't know if I've got it. I think I do, but I don't know if I've uploaded it. So I'm going to try. But, right. Yeah, I do have it. And I am going to try to, I'm actually going to try to, hold on. Sorry. I'm going to actually try to do it while I'm here and send it across. But there was a whole video where I think he was saying, he was on some boys show talking about, you know, he would rather have a few good people rather than, can't be bothered. Maybe we'll do another members live and go through some of the more finer details of this. It's not even that important for me to show it. You know, at the end of the day, anything that's disproved, I'll upload that and I'll show it anyway. It's or anyone who tries to disprove it. Because if I sit here and tell a lie, and I know there's lots of Forever Family people watching, may God strike me down and everybody in that organization come for me. I sit here and tell no lies. So I had no problem with the brother. I was well invested. And I want to share another few videos with you about that journey and, you know, the things that I got involved in. My child was involved. My middle daughter, the one who does music, she was involved. You know, her dad was not happy about it. As far as he was concerned, it was too militant for her to be involved in. But we were invested. I opened up my home. I opened up my time. You know, I didn't have anything against Respect. There was some idiot under the comments today saying, hold on, you know what? I'll get to that. I'm going to run some videos for you people, just so that for those of you that haven't seen the journey and seen my part in Forever Family, I'm going to run some videos just to illustrate how invested I was before I get to the rest of it. So let me do that, if I can find it. I need some new devices, bro. This is what needs to be happening. I'm going to put my Christmas list in with certain people and tell them I need a laptop. That's what needs to happen. I just really want to point out that I'm not here to run down my organization that I belong to. When I say mine, I belong to that organization. I still do, albeit that, you know, things are, to say that they were strained would be an understatement at the moment. And I know that there's going to be a massive conversation that probably needs to be had on the back of me talking out tonight, but I can hold it no more. And I won't go into the internals because I'm not really obliged to do that. And I don't have an issue with anything that happened internally with anybody else. I'm here to talk about my journey and the way I was impacted by Respect himself and the way the organization was impacted by Respect himself negatively, and the way that individuals within the organization were also negatively impacted by that brother there. And that's what I'm here to talk about, because what I see is a person that is not emotionally honest in the community, is still putting out a certain image, a certain vibration that isn't necessarily accurate. I can't wrong that little brother for his passion in wanting to make a change in his community. But I believe that that brother has too much ego and not enough humility, which I've told him to his face. There is nothing I'm going to say here tonight that I have not said to Respect to his face. The problem is that Respect isn't able to hold those kinds of conversations without blowing up, becoming abusive, trying to flip the script, trying to you know, somehow prove that you're the one who's got the problem and not him. And it happened time and time and time again with lots of different people until I started speaking out against it internally. He took issue with that, and we ended up having arseholes with each other. And that was after the shunning of the His Time Is Up campaign. So let me try and find these videos if I can. And then we'll pick up at the conversation, people. Just keep it just easy tonight. There's got to be another way with these things, honestly, I swear down. I'm fed up of technology. I really am. So here's a video of me. This is like not long after the Battle of Trafalgar, when the concept had been formed. It had come off of Instagram at this point and had gone into WhatsApp groups and online Google Meets meetings or whatever platform we used to use, Zoom, whatever, had gone into that in the planning stage and what it is that we wanted to do on the back of the Battle of Trafalgar. So we started training and we started sharing ideas and we started planning. And this is just one of those training videos.
That's looking after the community, and soon, with this organisation here, we're going to have funds coming in. We're going to be able to help people properly at grassroots. Great. This is very serious. This is the first time we're going to see. Come on! So make sure you take that one. Family! Get close, get close, get close.
And that culminated. I'm just showing you this, guys, because I want people to really understand the atmosphere around me and Respect at this time, you know. So just take a look at all of these. These are like snippets from the 1st of August and showing the camaraderie and the love and the mutual respect and everything that was going on. So just bear with me. You will hear me drilling the people as well. So, you know, it wasn't a passive role that I had.
We don't die, we multiply. Yeah? And I'm going to leave you with these words because we're moving fast tonight. I'm going to say that I take my freedom, lest I die. For pride runs through my veins, and principles support me, so that I with lifted head see liberty, not sky. For I am she who dares to say, I shall be free or dead today.
That's the only time our man them salute. So when you hear lionesses,
I want to join this,
I always love that one because the woman at the end says, I want to join this, I want to join, be ready. You understand what I'm saying? And oh my God, who's this person? Lemon PO2 Paula Smith. You're getting banned straight away. I don't know who that person is, but you're getting banned straight away. I'm not even going to repeat what you're called. What the hell? What's that, sis? Paula? This person's getting dark up straight away. Block, 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 block. I don't know who they are. They're taking the mic. Oh, my days. You're not even going in timeout. Hey, I hope I blocked them. It says that an error has occurred. Block them if I haven't been able to, please. moderators because I don't know who that is. Desiree says, Afua, I sense in his heart respect holds regret on certain matters between you and you both. If he does, he hasn't told me, Desiree. So hear me out. So there you have it. In terms of the backdrop, the passion, how I was involved, I was absolutely fully invested. You understand me? So I have no reason to sit here today with any gripes or anything like that. I had nothing against this brother. I signed up, fully paid up. We were there. Problem for me is that slowly, I started to see through internal interactions within Forever Family, meetings that we were having, things that were happening, deficits with Respect himself, the way that he interacted with people who didn't agree with him. This was never reaching me at this point. That's what you have to understand. It was observations on my part. The way that he absolutely had no respect whatsoever for particular sisters within, well, a particular sister at that point within the family, within Forever Family. Because that name, Forever Family as well, is not just a name. The way that we gelled, the conversations that we had, the atmosphere, the connections that were made, training together, whatever, we were invested in a family, you know? We were invested in a family. So it meant a lot to a lot of people, and a lot of people came out of their comfort zone. A lot of people like myself reinstalled their faith in an entity, you know, unwittingly. That's what it was. So I started to see all these traits, and I'm not saying anything at this point. I'm sort of saying it to certain people maybe, or in certain circles. And there was always this atmosphere that was set up within Forever Family by Respect, whereby if you had a conversation about any of his failings behind his back, and that was discovered, you'd be accused of being an agent, you'd be accused of, you know, not being for the cause or trying to bring things down. It was like a dictatorship in that regard. And it used to play itself out in only one group, the security group, you know? You can imagine what's being said in the security group, which Respect was the head of, because Forever Family is split up into different departments, if you like, you know, and quite rightly so. It's a very effective way of doing things. So he was the person that headed up the security group. The security group was the most visual. That's who was seen on the 1st of August. And that's what everybody thinks is Forever Family. That is the face of Forever Family. So everyone thinks that's a subtotal of Forever Family. It's a lot more sophisticated than that, a lot more complex. And that sophistication, those concepts, the stuff that Forever Family went on to do, albeit that it was short term after the 1st of August, was not Respect. It was the collective that brought that together, you know? But of course, people are going to see it the way it is. And I haven't even have a problem with people perceiving it a certain kind of way. That in itself is not my issue, you know? I had been through decades and decades of more high profile organizations than Forever Family, come out the other end and decided I didn't want anything more to do with anything like that. Forever Family and the way it came about changed my perspective and my wanting to be involved in something like that all over again. That's how much faith I had in the individuals, including Respect. So I'm ticking along, and I'm having to do cleanup jobs as part of the leadership of Forever Family. I was sitting in that position with some other people at that time. And there's all these cleanup jobs having to go on. Every time we make a plan to progress, to get funding, to do what we're doing, to structure, to move this thing ahead, it's been hampered by all of these issues with people in the ranks, you know? So we were constantly having to do disciplinaries and clean up jobs. And part of that, a large part of that, in fact, the majority of that, those cleanup jobs were between Respect and another female, namely his PA, within the organization. And it was very, very disturbing. What was more disturbing for me as an individual was the way in which that boy, Respect, dealt with that sister, albeit that sister was highly toxic. she created so much problems herself. You know, it was really like, for me, and I think a lot of other people as well, it was almost like this tag team that you couldn't understand who to blame. Like, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, just as bad as each other, just as toxic, just as corrosive. And it was corrosive for the organization. But at that point, when those realizations started to come, I went out of the country anyway. So I wasn't really on the ground with a lot of the PASA and what was going on. And I was online with it because even from Tanzania, I was still a very, very active member. In fact, I should have thought of videos to upload of me in Tanzania, replicating the Forever Family model and recruiting Tanzanian young men into Forever Family. That's how active and invested I was. So I was still active even though I was in Tanzania. You know, I was on every single meeting every week. Every time there was a meeting, I was in all the groups from Tanzania. So I wasn't going anywhere from Forever Family. You know, I wasn't going anywhere. So while in Tanzania, as you all know, I did the Vincent Wright video. And when I first went to Tanzania, another set of videos I could upload is of my leaving party that was thrown for me and the speeches that Raspet did before I went to Tanzania. You understand? So there was no issue at the point I stepped on that plane and afterwards as well, from whenever I went to whenever the Vincent Wright video was produced. So there was no issues, you know. There might have been internal bits and pieces here and there, like there is with every group, but that would have been general. There was nothing between Raspet and I, put it that way. Vincent Wright video happened. Now, on the day that I put that Vincent Wright video out, Raspet was on a live doing an expose about this dude called Machiavelli or something. Machiavelli? Am I saying it right? I think it's Machiavelli. Ducciavelli, that's it. Ducciavelli. So I didn't know who that person was. And I hadn't been on that live that day. I was busy, dealing with the Vincent Wright thing at the end of the day. So I'd gone on to his live that night to say to him, oh my God, bro, I've just put a video out and it looks like it's going viral. I don't know what's happening, because at that point I put the video out a few hours before, or I think the day before even, it might have been. And it was all coming back at me and I didn't really I was getting my footing. So I was going on to tell him about it. And because I jumped on the live and I saw that he was talking about a similar thing with this Ducciavelli person, I said to my daughter after that, because I really didn't know who Ducciavelli was. She said, oh, that's Steph London's brother, Mum. I was like, oh, okay, well, he must be well known then. That's why Raspet's talking about it. So he was doing this thing and I thought, okay, he's calling out somebody who's involved in young girls as well. How ironic, you know? Yes, his PA Ali is absolute poison. I will get to that, Mitch Walker. You obviously know them. Absolute poison. So on I jumped. I told him about it. He was in his mode. You know, Raspet was really his octanes were up there at the time when he was doing this Ducciavelli stuff. And what I find ironic about that actually is that I don't think that he had any evidence when he was producing that, but yet his opposition to what we are doing is what the trolls say, is that we don't have evidence. Anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. So I went on there and I told him, look, there's this guy called Vincent Wright. Remember, at this point, I've got no platform. I don't have one. You know, I've just been watching him on Instagram and I've put a video up. My daughter showed me how to do the controls. And that's why I'm doing. That's all I know about Instagram at this stage in the game. So I've jumped on his platform and I've said, there's this guy called Vincent Wright. I've put a video out about him, blah, blah, blah. I don't know who Ducciavelli is, but this is what's happened. And the brother's persona just completely changed. He then got a phone call off camera, which he muted up and took the phone call. And when he came back, his persona had changed even more. And you know, when you're trying to talk to somebody, but you can tell they don't really want to talk to you. It just completely switched. I wish there was somebody in the chat tonight that was on that live that remembers it. I know people I've spoken to that do remember it. And it was a really odd moment in the journey. And I just thought, oh, but I didn't give it too much thought at that stage. Fast forward, this Vincent Wright video has just gone completely mad. I attend a Forever Family security meeting, and for the first time, I'm aware that lots of people have some kind of opposition. Not lots of people, but a few people within Forever Family are voicing an opposition to me doing what I'm doing with the Vincent Wright story and whatever. But Raspet was the principal voice on that, to be fair. And he cited something that, you know, had happened where they were out on patrol in Brixton at that time, and some people had pulled up on them, which to me just sounded like Brixton. You go into certain estates in Brixton, you're not certified, they're going to pull up on you and look at you and do whatever. And usually that's the most that they do until they're sure. So I was trying to explain that's probably what it is. And that also, I had links in Brixton that surpassed Raspet's links as a Essex, East London person in Brixton, in those circles, that was certified and that had told me, do it, Afua. I had run the video through them before I even put it out there. Those were the conversations I needed to have, understanding the individual that I was about to call out. So I was trying to get them to understand that they weren't having it. Raspet was driving that narrative, and it became a kind of thought within the group, you know, which was driven by that brother there. And I'd seen him do that before. You know, and I was kind of taken aback. But to save all the to-in and the throw-in at that time, I just said, you know what? Don't worry about it. What I'm doing is what I'm doing. Let Forever Family do what they're doing. That's what I said at the time. Okay, just to shut down the argument and the to-in and the throw-in. And it was like, well, okay, you do your thing, I'll do mine. What I didn't mean is that once this thing had grown to where it was, and we were now about to put a march on the street, and we're getting death threats, and we're getting all these kinds of things that are reaching us. And another meeting is held, because now it's a situation where from Tanzania, I had reached out to my brother, innit? I'm saying to them, yeah, I'm just not really thinking about anything. Because on the back of the first security meeting where it was like, oh, you know, this is a bit edgy and you could put us at risk because we're out in Brixton doing patrols and whatever. And I'm going, nah, do you know what I mean? It isn't that. And anyway, as a patrol and a security force, we shouldn't really be scared of that or trying to hide from that. You understand? But I got it. I got that people felt intimidated. Lots of different people felt intimidated, not just them, you know, not just them. So I just let it go. And I said, like, just do you lot's thing. It's, you know, you don't have to support it. You don't have to say anything. Because I think at the time, what sparked that conversation actually was Toxic Ali, for her own spurious reasons, trying to embarrass Raspet by asking that question. Because after the live and him going on a bit funny, I didn't really give it much thought. It was only in hindsight, looking back at that live and that interaction, because of what happened next, that I even really pre'd it. So I just jumped onto that security meeting like I would any other security meeting and kept it moving. It was Ali who said to him, are you going to address the fact that people are asking in the comments, and meaning the comments on Raspet's platform, remember, I ain't got a platform at this time, why it is you haven't spoken on Afua's video? He then went on into one with Ali. And then I think I asked a question on the back of that. Yeah, he just wiped the floor with her, as he usually did. And then I asked the question myself, like, you know, what is it? So then all this sort of sentiment came out from only from the people who I see as Raspet's yes people. Because as with any group and any type of leadership, you're always going to have a little cohort of yes people around the focal point. You understand what I'm saying? Around the focal point. And Raspet is no different. I definitely haven't got that, because anyone will know the way that I run whatever I'm doing, there isn't space for no yes people, because I'm usually reaching out to everybody to ask them, you know, for their advice and expertise, because that's why they're here. That's why I value, you know. But he has that. He has a cohort of yes people. I'm not going to name their names. They haven't done anything personally. I do see them as weak individuals. And I think they need to make up their own mind. Half of those individuals have never known a day's badness in their life, wouldn't know anything about the streets of Brixton, as Raspet also does not know. He may know a few people here and there. He was listening to the hype of the youngers, perhaps, but he needs to listen to the certified people of Brixton, because nothing was going on in that regard. And as far as I was concerned, as an old seasoned off, boots on the ground activists in a way that none of them don't do it these days. None of you young activists do it that way. You don't. It's all an online thing, a camera thing, a wanting to be seen thing, chatting a lot of stuff thing, debating each other like that's going to get us anywhere thing. That's what it is. That's not what we were on. We were on serious works that would get you locked up for terrorism these days, you know? We were very serious about building what we built. We were also very serious about getting our degree and making sure that we put ourselves in key positions so that we can become a fifth column and bracket from the inside out. You know, we had a movement, a real one. So unfortunately, though, it fell foul to all the things that we know today, including infiltration, agents, things like that. So such a complicated story. So basically, in that meeting, it was revealed. Then I tried to say, you know, hi, like I normally do, and catch up with him on the back of that meeting, as I normally would from Tanzania. This brother had no problem getting back to me at the time when I first went to Tanzania and all the rest of it. He had no problems whatsoever. The minute I did that Vincent Wright video, I couldn't get hold of my brother. I couldn't get hold of my brother. No care how I leave voice notes, no care how I try phone him on WhatsApp. Remember, I'm out of the country, you know. No care how I'm out of phoning him on WhatsApp, And in meetings, it got to a point where I was saying, oh, bro, I was trying to catch you in it. And he'd pop off like, I'm busy, I've got problems with my daughters right now, and because he was going through a lot in terms of, you know, his baby mother and his children or whatever. And each and every one of us had tried to support him in that, you know? So it kept coming up along the way, not necessarily always by me, that, you know, you're not really chatting on the subject. You're the one with the platform. Nobody else in Forever Family's got a platform like yours that can reach the people. How comes all of this is happening around you and you're not talking about it? It became this thing, you know? I then started to want to have a conversation with him about that, not just to say hi. And even more blanking. Imagine you've gone from this whole camaraderie and regular interaction and whatever. And at this point, he wasn't even turning up to meetings. So we couldn't see the brother for dust. What is really going on? It got so bad that I got back into the country to start the first march and do what I was doing with that. And it was really a burning question. It was becoming something that couldn't be avoided. So efforts were made through the leadership of Forever Family to get a mediatory conversation together between myself, Brother Raspet, and another brother who's an excellent brother at what he does, who was going to be mediating, you know? First time that happened, when I tried to address what I thought was the issue, because by then it wasn't just about his avoidance of what I was doing, the campaign that was clearly gaining momentum in the community, that had clearly impacted our community. How do you as a community leader and Forever Family as a community entity not speak on this matter? How does that work? You know, why this avoidance? So these were questions that were raging internally before most people even noticed, you know? The first time that happened, and I tried to present the issues, Raspet blew up, tried to flip the script, became highly abusive, like I'd seen him do many times with other people in the meetings and what have you, and tried to flip that on me. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm not going to take that from anybody, and I'm certainly not going to take that from what I consider to be a younger and a lesser, in my opinion. So I gave back as good as I got. It ended up very negative, very unconstructive, and we went our separate ways with that, and it was left hanging. There was another attempt closer to the march of having that conversation as well, and it ended it the same way again. And one of the things that, you know, I said it as well in a more closed meeting, a leadership meeting where Raspet was present, you are a narcissist. The way that you love bomb the people that you see sometimes as a threat, I believe. You love bomb them, you know, because it used to be, Sister Afua. Yeah, you know, our Sister Afua. And he's got other people that he's done that with. And before you quint, once those people start to oppose anything that he does, or, you know, doesn't appear to be one of his yes people, they become gaslighted. You're agents, you're weak people, and, you know, you're this, and it's people that are against him. It's people that's bringing him down. It's people that are agents. And I resent that. I absolutely resent that. And I resent the hypocrisy, because you had good people around you, Brother Aspect, namely myself and others. You had a solid foundation around you. And because of your ego and your inability to hear and listen to advice, because you would literally give this brother advice in a leadership meeting about how not to do things and how not to erode and be corrosive within the organization. And he would literally leave that meeting and go into that next meeting. I saw it happen one time, and do exactly that behavior, till it was just like head banging. You know, I was highly frustrated by what I was seeing at the end of the day. And for me, I thought it was extremely disingenuous that you were literally blanking and causing others to blank the organization in terms of his time is up. But yet there you were saying, well, you know, we're not supporting stuff because you ain't got the evidence and whatever, and you're putting the people at risk because, you know, Vincent Wright is such a scary guy and we're connected to some of his sons and people are connected to whoever. But aren't you standing up for the principle out of your own mouth? When we went to the Battle of Trafalgar, your whole narrative and rhetoric and everything that you were ramming down that Instagram was about protecting the aunties, about how we're here for all of the community. Do you understand? So I might not have all the videos tonight, but I am going to give you the audios because I think they are important. And I want to kind of give you what I'm talking about, the hype that is still being pushed by that brother there when nothing don't go like that. That brother has eroded and popped down the organization from where it was in terms of that security team, I would say, and others. But it's been more impactful in the security team because that is what was active. And that security team was only active in terms of the delivery of any service, namely a winter clothing program and a back to school education program. That was the baby of the sisters in the organization, and they were the ones that executed it, pushed it, did it. Raspet was never progressive in that way in Forever Family. You understand? He's a great mouthpiece. He's good at talking a good fight, but in terms of actual activeness and building Forever Family as a rock solid leader, that ain't him. That was the people around him. You understand? And that is the God's honest truth. So all of this hype and trying to put people down, when you're going around on a scooter chasing pedophiles that you don't have any real evidence around. There was a time when he was chasing a bubble van around. I saw it from Tanzania, but I also know the inside scoop of that. I also know that he was given information just willy-nilly, and he went to a house where he thought that van was parked up, and it was actually somebody's baby mother's house. And that person, because he got the address wrong, and that person wanted to do him something, and it was one of our brothers within Forever Family that caused Raspet himself not to get shot that day. I don't even think Raspet himself even knows what was going to reach him. That's how accurate his information is. So I think it's a bit rich when he tries to hide behind the real reason that he doesn't support Forever Family and tries to say all of these things. Let me play something for you, and you can hear what his opposition is, and you know, the regurgitated narrative that he puts across as to why he doesn't support our movement. And what I don't like about this clip is that he's responding to when somebody asked on the live, Afua, why was Raspet arrested? This is the thing. People associate me with that individual and that organization, so they're going to ask me these questions. And usually I would try and scoot that. I would try and scoot that answer, that comment. But the way that comment was hanging in the chats, there was nothing else underneath it usually to crowd it up so I could just ignore it. It just begged for an answer. And that day I just answered it. I said, well, that's the $56 million question. I don't know. And there's a whole lot more that I could say about that story. And that's all I said. And also another brother that's ex-Forever Family came on the platform in solidarity of what we're doing and was making a point about people not supporting. So I guess Respect thought we were talking about him, but we were just talking in general that night. His response the next day was to throw word, as I call it in Jamaican dialect. You know, when you have chore word pan people, you're not saying what you want to say, but you're saying it anyway. I hate that, and I don't have any time for that type of underhanded play. I'm up in front. I'm in your face. I sought dialogue with you, brother, for well over a year. You ignored me. We could have dealt with this internally. You ignored me. You know, we tried to deal with it internally. You ignored me. What is the problem that you have with not supporting the organization? Because what you say is the problem doesn't add up. If you say it's about the fact that you're only focusing on those things that you can prove, then you're a liar. Because you've been on many a shout that you could not prove. It was taken. I doubt you did as much investigation as we do on His Time Is Up, but yet you were there. You were there chasing paedophiles. The only legitimate thing I can see that you chased where it was unequivocal was the Caden thing. Other than that, this was information that was given to you by members of your community, which I don't believe that you chased up as thoroughly as we do, and you were out on that shout defending it. You know, and I'm not saying that was wrong necessarily. What I'm saying is stop with the double standard. Come with the real reason why you don't support the His Time Is Up campaign, and why it is that you forced other people in the family through your rhetoric. You didn't bash them over the head and say to them, you can't go. But you're very good at creating a narrative that other people follow. And if you're weak-minded and you're not thinking for yourself and you don't really know much about a situation and you're kind of invested in that individual, you will just listen to what he's got to say. And he knows that. So he was able to guide the mood of a lot of people in the organization. There was one or two strong people, Love You, Gavin, Lay, Sean, Chris, these people, and of course our beloved brother Mega, which he could have never told him anything anyway. And also Mega's a real South London man that knows the difference between what is a risk and what ain't, and even so didn't care, because that's what I would expect from a vanguard, from somebody who's standing up and leading out an army of black like that in the way that Respect did. I would not expect them to quiver just because of people like Vincent Wright or Quincy or whoever. But because he didn't want to accept that he was just plain shook, because that's what it was, in my opinion, just plain shook. He didn't have alliances. He hasn't got family. He's not from Brixton. Some people, and only one or two within Forever Family, had those alliances. And I kind of get that. Let them be in the background. Let individuals within Forever Family who didn't want to support stay in the background and say nothing because it was too close to home. Didn't have a problem with any of that, my brothers and sisters. What I had a problem with was the way that you tried to steer the mood and the mindset of the whole group against I, when we had no beef. We were perfectly fine before I put that video out. Suddenly I put the video and all things shut down. So what is it, my brother? That's all I've ever been saying. And what is it about you and your dysfunctional relationship with Toxic Ali that kept spilling out into that organization? Your refusal to progress things, your refusal to let anybody give you direction or even criticize you. He had a mechanism why any time that he was challenged, when sisters were screaming and saying, we're doing this clothing initiative, we want to progress it further, Ali is hindering us because she just gets jealous of any woman that comes near you and that she's just making things really difficult. You're not on the ground. He started screaming at everybody that he's got his own private life going on and the stuff is going on with his kids and whatever, which I'd given this brother advice, which he did not take around that. And when the backlash came of what I told him would happen if he didn't take my advice, he expected lots of sympathy, which he got at first. There was no, very few sisters within the group that had not put their hand in and helped him with those girls. Do you understand? So we were doing our bit. But when you're going to use that now to beat people, to say that we're being disrespectful and we're not being considerate of the brother, when you're falling short of your commitments and your responsibilities to your group, or you're falling short of your conduct within the group and towards individuals, and people want to call you on it, and you shut them down by telling, look at everyone's attacking me, and we're not going to have that, and there's other people that kind of run behind you and say, I think we should give the brother a chance. We should, and that did endure for a time. But that gets stale after a while if it's seen that you're just trying to dodge the bullet. No one, he could never say that he wasn't supported with whatever difficulties he was having, you know? And everyone was having their difficulties, but he was the only one flinging it on the table, and nobody had a problem with that. Nobody had a problem with that. It was terrible what he was dealing with. And me, for one, I just go into mother mode. So I wanted to mother him and feed him and help, you know, take the girls, whatever I had to do. I went away. So a lot of that I didn't get involved in because I weren't in the country. But much of it I did when I was in the country. So I just didn't understand why it was now, as time had gone on, always being brought up. I know people take time to get over things, but what I didn't feel was being appreciated by him was that we all have our load. We all have our load. Like, there's so many stories I'm sure lots of people could tell that would also show you that they're under it right now, but yet we turn up. We still dedicate, we still give commitment to the cause, and we still are able to juggle our emotions in the way that we try to deal with each other. None of that was happening from the brother. So it was all of that in the pot for me, all of that in the pot. But this is Respect's explanation as to why it is that that he doesn't support the cause. Just have a listen to this.
Peace, family. Today I'm going to touch on sexual allegations made online. I've been hesitant to touch on this case because it's so sensitive, especially for women that have been victims of abuse and never got justice. During the time when Caden tried to kidnap a little girl from the streets, we was out there, Eastern European gangs in North London, yeah, groomers in South London, yeah, paedophiles in East London, yeah, wherever it was, yeah, we was cleaning up the streets, especially on my last gram. So you know how I feel about this, yeah. The jails actually had Caden's picture before he even got convicted, and as soon as he got there, multiple times, he's been hit up by man in jail. So you know how we feel about this, yeah. At the same time, we have to know someone's definitely guilty before we personally call someone a paedophile. Because for you, it might just be going outside the building calling someone a paedophile and then going home. For us, if I come on this platform and I put a man's picture out and I accuse him of that, then we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah? Head top might just roll. Yeah? If you understand, you understand. If you don't, you don't. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? But it could get real. So we have to be very patient. Yeah? And unfortunately, during that time when we was doing that, many women came to me with cases, and they got upset with me when I wasn't able just to believe them based upon their word, yeah, and support their campaign. And many of those women also started to call me names. So then you've lost your integrity, because what you're trying to do now is you're trying to emotionally blackmail people into supporting your campaign instead of just coming with evidence, yeah, and convincing people. Yeah, so they started calling me names, and unfortunately, I'm not going to do no hassa, address stuff online and all that foolishness. But if you say something wrong about me or someone else, I don't know if I can trust what you're saying about other men. Yeah. On top of that, I've had men that I know. Yeah, there was a young boy who went viral on Snapchat. Yeah, and he has many people trying to roll on him. Yeah, from Camden. Yeah, his mum believes that he could be murdered. Now I looked into the case. I spoke to a couple of young G's on the end. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that they'll leave him alone now. You know what I'm saying? But this is what can happen from us saying this stuff online. Do you know what I'm saying? There was a case of a brother who went viral, and recently the police have come forward and said that it wasn't actually any evidence, and the claims the woman made didn't make sense. But he's now suicidal, because it doesn't matter what the police are saying now. At the time, people believed it, and it's dramatically affected his life and his family. I've got another brother called Rose, who also went viral. Yeah, a girl made a claim on Snapchat, and he hit me up. Back in Boston, he was like, "Yo, Russ," and he showed me all the evidence, so I knew he was innocent. Yeah, because it literally didn't add up. yeah, and I wasn't able to deal with it at the time. And it's only dealing with this brother that was suicidal made me know, you know what, I've got to say something now, yeah, and it's not for me, it's not only for the men who may be dragged through the mud, but it's also for women who have gone through this and have come out and feel like people aren't believing them, to maybe understand the perspective, and for us to really put pressure on these women who make allegations, yeah, and are lying. That's really where we need to be buckeying right now. You know what I'm saying? Those women, because I believe that a woman who has lied about a man and it is found out evidence-based that she has lied, she should actually face the same sentence that the man would face. Yeah, and I think that would really put a lot of women off from just making allegations online. But for me, it's very difficult speaking about this topic because everything has to be case by case, and each case, each individual picture that you see where allegations made, there needs months is needed to really investigate and come to a conclusion. And unfortunately, the way the internet is right now, the internet is judge, jury, and executioner. So a woman might call out one man and be right, and because she was right about that man, now you believe the next man and you don't know anything about that man. And that man could be innocent. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I personally don't get involved in these sort of cases. And a lot of them are 40, 50 years old, so they're older than a lot of us. Yeah. So I'm not Columbo. I'm not a detective. I can't start to go back in history and deal with history. What I really want to do is emphasize on the future. So when it comes to the young boys and young girls, 15-year-old and down, yeah, we're teaching the young boys how to deal with the young girls, yeah, to respect them. You know what I'm saying? We're teaching the young girls self-defense, self-confidence. We're letting them know you got big brothers. So if anything happens to you, don't wait 10, 15 years. You can talk now and no one can't tell you nothing. Yeah? I heard a man say, oh, we all know men who do this. You know men who do this. I don't know any men who do this. Even my brethren, my brother, my blood brother moved to a 15-year-old in front of me. I'm lifting off his head top quick. I'm not even thinking about it. Are you mad? We don't know these guys. These guys, I know real men, yeah, who look out for children, even the ones that ain't theirs, and they're there for their youths. Real men. You know, real men, you get me, with their wife and their children. Those are the men that I know, I respect, and I look up to. That's my surroundings. Yeah, and still find time to look out for other people's children. But I want to go live to my brother Rome's on YouTube, so he can kind of tell his story, and we can kind of get that side of the story. And like I said, for all the women who have gone through this, yeah, one of the reasons why I do the work I do is, even though I might not be able to differentiate what happened in previous generations, I can be someone who contributes to us not passing down like legacy to the younger generations, yeah, to the young girls coming up. And that is my mission, yeah. And to anyone that is offended by anything I've said, I apologize. And yeah, I'll see you later.
So his contention is that it's outdated. It's people from long time ago. He says that it's not his generation. But what happened to protecting the aunties? Nobody's asking you to take this up as your mantle. Nobody was asking you that. The perfectly legitimate question was asked, and not by me, remember. I wasn't even the person pushing that question. The person pushing that question came from someone else, like above me, if you like. Why are Forever Family not attending the march, His Time Is Up march? How can we say that we are community people on the streets, doing patrols, doing whatever, and you're not attending that march in that community when you've got nasty men threatening to harm those aunties? Why are we different from the aunties that were in Trafalgar Square at the Battle of Trafalgar, which I represented in? Why are we different? There's big people being put at risk in the community. And I asked the same question of the Fruit of Islam. I asked the same question because those are brothers that have definitely signed up to protect women in the community, but nobody steps forward. Nobody. Admit that you're shook and stop trying to go around the thing. Because you're saying, well, you know, we definitely have to have, he sounds like a troll, my brothers and sisters. He sounds like a troll. Where's your evidence? You know, we ain't talking about it. And rubbish, absolute rubbish. This is the man that went on, took a group of people from Forever Family to the balcony of a man who they had reports was calling out to school children or exposing himself, I think, or I don't even know. He was soliciting school children from his balcony. So they were told. Nobody from the school corresponded with Respect. It was what other people had told him. Not a problem with that. We do the same thing. We would have called the school. We would have gone in a bit more. But he still turned up underneath. There's a whole video, and I'm going to try and find it, of them harassing this man and calling him a paedophile underneath his balcony. This is the man that's saying that he doesn't go out unless there's evidence. Just like with the bubble van incident. He was chasing bubble vans everywhere based on community testimony, you know, based on community testimony. So that's the type of disingenuous foolishness that I do not like. You see the hype thing, the thing of trying to present yourself as something that you're not. You know, you're gang affiliated and you're up there. You're not. My son went to school a walking distance from where Respect lives. You know, and you know, boys and boys, they all know each other in the area and hear of each other and whatever else. I knew from very early on that Respect wasn't what he said on the tin in terms of the roads. You know, my son filled me in. That's why my son never joined Forever Family. It's the first time I'm saying this, first time he would have heard it. My son refused to join Forever Family because you know what he said to me? He said, he laughed and he said, Mum, what are you doing? He went, Kari Mackenzie, Mummy. I went, what? Who's that? At that point, I didn't know that was Respect's name. Kari Mackenzie, he said, that's Respect. And I went, oh, because he'd seen a picture at this point, and or he might have even glimpsed him at my house or something. But he knew the guy, and he knew him from the ends. But my son was a little bad breed in his time, and he started laughing. And he said, Mum, that's like a pussycat leading out a den of lions. That's what my son said to me. But I didn't hold that against the brother. That's not why I was there. Maybe that's why some of the youngers follow Respect, because they think that, you know, he's a bit cool and he's about it and he's got connections and whatever else. We can all know people, but Respect is not about it. And that was further illustrated to me when I saw the level of cowardice. I'm going to go as far as say that, of cowardice. So imagine me now coming from the loins of people like Dr. Khalid and having been to all these different spaces to train on the underground and do all these crazy things. And I think that I'm amongst the same set of people with the same type of ilk and heart and fight. And actually, I'm around a pussycat. Because when the minute a real issue lands on the table, when it isn't just about chasing something down with a camera after it's finished and then turning up there, do you know what I mean? Or it isn't really about really taking on people other than weak little weirdos doing crazy things, you know, or having it out with a supermarket manager because they've been a bit racist. The minute it's about real things, they all shrink. I was devastated in that regard. Not because brother didn't show up, not because brother had necessarily tried to turn the mind of the organization, but because the realization came to me that I really was in a den of pussycats and not lions. I was incensed, people. I'm still incensed. I'm still incensed at how that individual rotted the organization from the inside out. How can we go from a security team of 50 strong people down to about 10 of Respect and his yes people? But still you're pushing it on our steam. You're pushing it as if it's still what it was, what everyone that was involved in it built. Now you're talking about re-recruiting, what, to replicate the same disaster again? You must be crazy. You've got to stop, my brother. You've got to be honest with the people. You know, it's just lots of little things that he says. Even, for instance, someone sent me a video of him on this podcast thing, and he's asked about Forever Family and how it came about or whatever. And he's basically suggesting to the podcast guy that he footed the bill for Forever Family in terms of the vests and the uniform and setting it up and whatever, when nothing could be further from the truth. He's talking about the vests as if he gave those and they were never being sold. And I'm saying, hold on a minute. This was pointed out to me. I've got the recording. Didn't get to upload it, as I said, because my thing's glitching, for those of you that didn't hear the beginning. But I'm going to play that one as well, because that one disturbed me. It actually really did. And sheesh. Let me see if I can find it, brothers and sisters. What's that? Something completely different. I'm going to see if I can find it. And then you can listen to it, because I need to make a point on that as well. These are the little things. A lot of people were cringing in Forever Family because Raspet kept making promises to the community that we weren't able to keep. We weren't able to keep it. Do you understand? And it was grating on a lot of people. So it isn't just about not supporting the His Time Is Up campaign. It's about being straight about why you don't support the His Time Is Up campaign. It's become personal. You created a whole vibe between me and you that has become enmity now, when it wasn't there in the beginning. What is it about that Vincent Wright video that shook you so much to the core that you forfeited your relationship with your sister that invested her time and her heart and her soul into the organization that you represent, that you are also a founder member of? What was it? What could possibly be? And why do you hinder the organization from doing what it says on the tin in terms of the security team? Because like I said, it's still spinning in the background in terms of the other entities within Forever Family, and long may they live. Do you understand me? Long may they live. My position, it's been untenable for a while since he did what he did, because as far as I'm concerned, this could have been sorted out internally. You didn't have to come to the march if that's how you felt. Other people didn't have to come to the march if that's how you felt. But my organization that I believe in, that I have served my time in and given up my heart, body, soul, body in terms of training, soul, and my home and the rest of it, I deserve for my organization to stand with me. It's as simple as that. I've stood with them. Why would you drop out one of your members who served you, who served so well? You know, why would you do that and try to justify it by saying, well, where's your evidence? Well, did you come and ask? Did you come and look? Did you ever look on a live? Did you jump on any of our lives the way I've always jumped on yours? No. And there's loads that you say and do that I don't agree with. But as my brother, somebody, this Inhuman or Human 22, I can't remember what they're called now, on Instagram, is like, why has Raspet got to support you? You do your thing, who do yours? And I suspect that is somebody from Forever Family. I've got a feeling of who I think it could be. Yeah. And if it is you, Bugs, that wrote that human, whatever, if that is you, then you're bang out of order, because, you know, show your face, because you don't want me to talk about you as well within the mix and your own little covert toxicity. But anyway, it's definitely someone from Forever Family, that person on Instagram at the moment making all these comments. I believe it is. I really do, because the way they're saying certain things, it's too up close and personal, and they definitely know Raspet, and I suspect they know me as well. So this is the type of underhandedness that I got to deal with in an organization that we put together in order to dispel the problems in our community. The same old dirty mindset time and time again. Some people say, oh, it's jealousy and he can't take a strong woman. I'm inclined to agree with that, because that's what I saw happening. Not just a strong woman, strong people, full stop, but especially a strong woman. If you're a strong woman and you stand up to Raspet, you will go from his light into his shade like a true narcissist. He will disparage you. You know, I watched him do it with Sasha Johnson, and I resent Raspet for that, because I had no knowledge of Sasha Johnson. I was new on the scene to everything at that point, like I said. And he beat down into the group in the same way he beat down into the group about the campaign and, you know, it being dangerous and us being put at risk. And he painted such a dramatic picture. He did the same with Sasha Johnson in terms of her being an agent, her being too radical, you know. But I had never ever seen a video of this sister. The first I really heard about her was when she turned up at the reparations march. She ran over to us. I was at the back drilling, so I didn't really see when that happened, but it was very much spoken about the following day. And Raspect's rhetoric was about her being an agent, her being a liability, her being all these things, really, really negative. So I was from an ilk that you ain't got to say agent twice to me before I start saying, whoa, agent, now you need to bun that, da, 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 da. And I did say that. But I said that, and this is my folly, I said that without really having proper knowledge of this sister. I'd never seen it, like gone on, Googled and got into a video for her. And after that, I went to Tanzania and I really didn't. The first time that I checked out Sasha Johnson was when she got shot. So I then started watching videos of her and I thought, oh my God, why would the brother vilify her like that? Her, of all people, somebody who is a girl absolutely after my own heart. The way that she approaches, the way that she does stuff, she reminds me of a young me. Seriously. And I just couldn't understand it. And I was even more incensed when she got shot that there was a whole chat within one of our groups, a security group, as to whether or not Raspect and others should attend her vigil. I was fiercely against it because I remember how disgusting it was in the way that he had vilified her to the group, including myself. He pulled the wool over my eyes to the point where I didn't even go and look. I just said, what agent? Yeah, man. Is that how she's going on? Forget her. Didn't check the sister out. And I know for a fact, had I done that, and this is where I beat myself, because I should have done that. I just didn't. But had I done that, I know I would have been going, hold on a minute. No, we need to collaborate with their sister. Because I know I would have been. You understand me? So he was even overheard when there was an event which was also very much talked about within Forever Family called the Garvey event. And he was overheard at the Garvey event telling a camera person, there was a camera crew following Sasha at the time, who was very strong wherever she went. She outshone whoever was there. And I believe that was Raspect's problem with her, is that he knew that she outshone him. And I don't think he was able to hold the space for that reason. So he was overheard saying to a camera person, you can take a shot of me or whatever, but please don't make sure you don't get me in a shot with Sasha. Why would you do that to your sister? You say you stand for the community. You say you stand for the sisters. Well, my experience is that you don't stand for us. My experience of seeing the way you handled Sasha is you didn't stand for her. So are we cherry picking now? Are we cherry picking when we say we stand for all of the community? Or do you only want to deal with the 15 and below? Because that's the other thing he was saying in that clip, in that video, audio just now. I don't want to deal with that. I'm not Columbo. It's just nonsensical stuff. And it doesn't add up to what you say your principles are about and what you've already done. Doesn't add up. So him excommunicating Sasha like that. Sasha was arrested at that march, I've now come to know, and apparently a call was put in to somebody in Forever Family, and it could only be one of a few people, and it's kind of the culprits I'm talking about who would have answered that phone at that time. I know that. It wasn't just anybody that would have answered that call. She was arrested that night after she came up to us in the march. The policeman handled her, took her out the way. We did nothing about it. Remember, all of this is going on at the back, and I don't even know what's going on until after it's all happened. Somebody from Sasha's team reached out to Forever Family, and somebody, as I say, it would have had to have been Raspect and either one or two people that picked up that call and told the person at the other end of the phone that we're not coming to the police station because we don't support her. She's called people coons and we don't support her. Now you tell me, my brothers and sisters, what kind of community organization that is about everybody, but is also Black centric, because there was never going to be anybody else in Forever Family's leadership. It is Black centric. Although it stands for all of the communities, very much the same like we do. We stand for any woman that's been sexually abused or raped or beaten. We stand for any woman, but we also stand for other women. For Black women. We are primarily focused on Black women and Black men. Yeah? But we are here for everybody. We've had white people on this platform. We've had women share their stories. We are primarily for our own. That is the concept behind Forever Family as well. So I just couldn't understand why there was this cherry picking going on. And I won't forgive Respect for blocking my path to be able to know that sister before she was injured. You know, I really, really can't forget. I can't get over that, because I know the way in which he controlled the mood and the thinking and the narrative when it came onto that sister, because a lot of people didn't know her. There were one or two voices from certain brothers that did know her that was trying to talk up for her. And I believe that if I had been exposed to her work, I would have been with those brothers that was trying to talk up for her at the time. So I saw the very same process take place when it came onto him vilifying the His Time Is Up platform. Only the difference is that this time this was from the inside out, and I was actually his sister. I saw him do it with other individuals, the narcissistic trait. But there's something that's like really sticking in my claw, my brothers and sisters, in relation to this. You know, I always go on about Dr. Khalid because that is the man that raised me in terms of my political thinking and my works. And one of the things that was taught is that we don't sit silent when others are bamboozling our community. In our community, we don't sit silent. There was a time when Dr. Khalid used to rain it down on people like Jesse Jackson. I mean, he did not hold back. And Jesse never really troubled him. He just told a lot of untruths in the community, painted himself as doing one thing when actually that wasn't really how it is, and all the rest of it. There's not a lot going on in terms of what Respect is delivering. You know, he seems to think that he invented Speaker's Corner, which has been going and been active for 200 years. In our time, we held Speaker's Corner for well over a decade. It was around 2007. The main sort of driving force behind Speaker's Corner was Nation of Islam, man, but a lot of people used to go around that. And it wasn't about just debating people about religion and all the rest of it and getting upset about things like that. It wasn't always about that. It was about literal freedom of speech. It was a very different terrain. But when 7/7 bombings happened, Farrakhan put out a directive that no more FOI should attend Speaker's Corner, because we used to lock it down every Sunday. And it's sort of the bottom came out of it then for black people going down there. But it's something that's happened before. Respect sort of, you know, cut his teeth and made his name down there, so I'm told. I never really watched many of those. I got a bit bored because it was just all about Muslim people debating each other about matters of religion, when that's not what Speaker's Corner is really about. So after the 7/7 bombings, the Muslim Aqeedah took it over, and it really became about that. And that's where Respect sort of entered really onto the arena and onto the scene. I don't know about all of that. I never used to watch that. I didn't know about it. I know the brother because I met him a couple of times on the circuit and I was impressed by him. So I just want to make that clear as well. Where is this clip that I'm looking for? Hey. So this is the brother talking on somebody called Young Spray. I kind of like that name. It's got a ring to it. I don't know what Young Spray does or if he's famous or something, but he's on this platform from somebody called Young Spray, and he's asking him about Forever Family, but there's a big discrepancy here. And I just feel that I need to correct that, because it isn't loose language. It's a direct lie. And these are the little things that I've got a problem with the brother with. Stop telling lie, brother. Do you know what I mean? Stop hyping it past where it goes. Be honest. Be honest about your own capabilities as well, because you are not a leader. If you was a leader, Forever Family would still be intact in the way that it was. And you have imploded the organization. You have. And that rips my heart out, because that organization deserves and will stand forever. I do believe it will. But I've said it in internal circles, and I'm saying it again now, that if that man is not moved from position of power in the organization, is never going to go past where it is, and it's going to stay on the floor where he put it. You know, that same Ali that goes on like she's in his corner always used to whisper in my ear, he's going to do the same to Forever Family that he did to Gang. He's going to mash it up like he did with Gang. Well, yeah, that was quite prophetic, Ali, but you also helped him to do that, didn't you? You did. They've lost some of their finest people within the family, not just in the security group, but other than that as well. There's people that's been driven out because of indiscretions and bad leadership. And it's wrong. It's wrong what happened. And you know, I probably will be the most recent to be a casualty of that with all that's going on. There you go. But don't you dare for a minute go on as if you had weak people around you that didn't make this thing happen, that weren't invested and dedicated and loyal to you, and that you did not run away. Long before I've said what I've said, there's people, key people, that would have furthered Forever Family that just went because of Raspect's conduct. You know, so if it's lie I tell, I invite any one of them to come on there and try to tell me that I'm telling a lie today, because I know I ain't. And they know I ain't, which is why they won't come on. Definitely not Respect. Definitely wouldn't. But listen to this. Excuse me. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. This is something I have to clear up.
If you're homosexual, just say that. If you like men and you want to be locked up with men for the rest of your life, till 6 9 dealt with. Like, he's taken a fall out of all of the man them blood. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna come out here? You get me? He's gone, but 6 9 still here. But I can't lie. I had a conversation with someone about this the other day. My bridging. Like, if man's gonna bring, maybe like bookings and that. No. Right now, we're not really recruiting. But it's gonna open up soon. Because fam, like, if man's gonna bring, like, man just gotta have serious people. I'd rather be with 10 serious people and 50 people, but they're flimsy. You get me? It's like half of them are flimsy, and that's what I clocked when I first done the thing. Yeah, man joined man for clout. You get me, for attention, because they thought I was gonna do a GoFundMe. And they realized Respect wasn't asking the people for a penny. They was gone. What's this shit on? Do you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I had a conversation with someone about this the other day, my brethren, because he was saying about, remember you and Farron used to do, you and Farron used to do them walks or whatever, and he's like, oh, I was like, yeah. He's like, who you got? And I said, Respect. And he's like, yeah. But how did he make money? Because like Farron, like I see Farron does all the, you know, whatever Farron does in it, like he's now, but now he's selling everything. But I'm saying, you see what? Where I know both of them, innit? I'm saying, if I be honest with you, my man don't even give a shit about none of that. If I be honest with you, he's more for the revolution. Well, I've invested back. Not to say Farron ain't, but I'm saying Farron's very, you get what I'm saying? He's clued up in it with money, like as far as money on. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? He's not gonna be doing none of that. And not big up Faz, you get me? Like, he's not gonna be, you get what I'm saying? I know he's patterning. I know he's patterning. I'm not gonna kill your thing, but he's patterning. You get what I'm saying? Where me, bro, I can't lie, I don't put down no one's thing, but no one can't chapter my thing, because I've invested bags in everything you see. You get me? Like big racks, you know what I'm saying? Into community in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, just in general, like, it's mad, you know what I'm saying? So for me, well, time is money. Yeah, but not even just time, bro. But time is money, though. 50 vests. Get all the bags. 50 vests and getting them printed. That's 3 bags there, just there. Community collection, 3 bags there. You know, and you're not selling them? Like, no, I'm not selling them. That's my whole point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? People contributed. You know what I'm saying? And people can contribute within the team. But in general, and obviously there's a couple man like Carla, when we was doing the community collection, contributed. When we done when we was giving food and clothes out to the homeless. It's like 1 or 2 people, you know what I'm saying? But why don't you start a GoFundMe? Brother, and I'll start one for you. Remember I told you that time outside the chicken shop where I said I'm not going to beg nothing again? I'm not begging no one nothing, but what I'm going to do is I'm investing and I'm setting up the structure until we've got an actual service that we're providing the people, and then everyone can become members at £10 a month. It's a chump change. So it's not like £100, £200. After you've seen 20 bags has gone into the thing, you can see the dialogue of the years, you can see all of the stuff that's happened, you can now contribute £10. And you can check your email and check what happened that month and decide if you want to maintain being a fan member. But before we even send that to the people, the structure has to be there so people know exactly what they're investing in. So that's all man's been trying to really set up in the background, the structure, website, membership, the emails, getting the emails of the people that become members, making sure there's a process of updating those people's emails regularly, whether it's quarterly with what the update is, because I'm not going to take money and then people are looking at their email and they ain't getting an update. And then when I'm saying, Respect, we gave money for this, and we don't even know. My integrity is everything, but I'd rather never do a GoFundMe, work 12-hour shifts 5 days a week and invest in the thing out of my own pocket. Because, like, see, you know, certain man, they like cars, certain man like chains, certain man like to certain gal clown like to spend money on gal and OnlyFans. You got different men that invest in whatever they want to invest in. Me, I want to invest in the community. I want to invest in the future of our youths. I want to make sure that I've done something to make sure all of our children feel a little bit more safer and protected. So all of our sons can see a different way than the roads, and all of our daughters can know that they can't be abused without people speaking out for them.
So you see the double standard there, my people. But what he said, there's a piece that he says there where the man says to him, you know, what you're not going to start a GoFundMe, and he's like, no, and he talks about the vests, and that was like £3,000 or whatever, and so on. And you know, he does kind of mention in passing, you know, people did contribute. It was a gross misrepresentation, and I just have to pick up on that, because those are the things, the level of hype, making it sound bigger, him sound bigger than what it is. And misrepresenting is what I have a problem with. So he talked about the vest just there. Did you all hear that? Did everyone pick up on that, or do you want me to play it again? Put up a 1 if you pick up on that. If you picked up on that, what he said there about the vests and you know, 50 vests costing whatever. Let me know. Right, you did pick up on that. Great. So I've got some screenshots here from the original time when the vests were being procured, and you know, we were leading up to the march and whatever, because I can tell you unequivocally, number one, I've paid my £10 a month. I cancelled it after a couple of months. It started, and then I paid like 2, and I cancelled it because of all that's going on. I stopped paying that £10 a month because I didn't see why I should have to pay for non-protection from my own organisation. It was ridiculous. I just stopped paying. So that was definitely a contribution that was taken. It wasn't sort of Raspet giving out 20 grand of his own money. He did mention Akala gave a contribution, which was a very sizable contribution to the organisation. But apart from that, the vest, the uniform, everything was purchased by us. The individuals that wore those uniforms that day, it was purchased by us. For people that couldn't afford it at the time, there was a bit of a payment plan that could have gone on. That was advertised. But generally, people paid for their vests. So this misrepresentation there, I find it very concerning, but it is very characteristic of Raspet to hype something past where it don't go. You know, I got a screenshot here, if I can find it, of that correspondence that talks about the vest, for anyone that wants to call me a liar. Where are you? Okay. I thought I had it. Hold on a sec. Here we go. So here's one. Turn my camera off. So as you can see here, quite categorically, this is a breakdown of how much the vests actually cost. And that's for 36 full units. It was only 36 vests, I think, that was ordered. That's a breakdown of it. So, you know, it's hardly, it's 1,000 quid. It's hardly 20 grand. That's the first thing. And then the other one that I've got, where has it gone? Computer's so slow today, honestly. Right. So the other one, you can see that there, is a message from Raspet himself. And it says quite categorically there, blessings family, it was a really good session today. We had a chance to look at the best prototypes today and are looking to purchase today. It's £30 for the vest, and we have the link to purchase the proper metal protection plates for it. Some of you have paid already or handed your items over for printing. We aim to have your items ready for you by our next session. We are coming close to the 1st of August and have reserved. And I think the message goes on to say, for those of you that can't afford the £30, a payment plan can be put in place. Yeah. So, 1 second. Oh, God. Sorry, my brothers and sisters, I can't get this off the screen. Oh, here we are. Right. So, trivial, you might say. Not trivial. Not trivial. Brother's clearly saying to that brother Young Spray that he's racked out £20,000 of his own money. One would assume that's what he was talking about. There's been, you know, a few contributions here and there. and you know, 50 vests alone cost this much, and giving people the impression that he's the person that funded that. That's so wrong, because that never happened. And as you can see, message was there from him. Some of you have paid already. Who hasn't paid? Set up a payment plan. And not a payment plan for £30. Well, don't laugh at that, because some people were really broke, but they were giving their time and their effort and their passion and their commitment, same like anybody else. So, you know, it was only right that they should get some help with that. And that came out of the little bit of money that was given by outside contributors. Any help that was given was through that. I think there were 1 or 2 people that couldn't afford it at all and may well have been wavered. But generally, everybody bought their vests. You know, saying that you don't chase paedophiles unless you've got evidence and you've worked on cases for months, but yet you're under people's balconies on the drop of a hat and a say-so. Chasing bubble vans on the drop of a hat and a say-so. You know, just all this contradiction, all this hype, all this bringing things where they don't need to be, all this lack of humility, all this lack of hearing and being able to be told, running away good, decent people from the organization because of your lack of professionalism, your lack of self-awareness, your lack or your inability to resolve conflict within the organization effectively. Not just me, not supporting the His Time Is Up campaign is just a long line of similar traits and outcomes when it comes onto that individual, a long line of similar traits and outcomes. If I lie, respect, take my life. If I lie, you got a free fall to say and do whatever you want about me. But you know I'm not lying, brother. You never gave me a plausible explanation. And that would be respectful. If you had love in your heart for the sister or any of the sisters involved or the community that you speak of, you wouldn't have moved the way that you're moving. You'd have answered that call from Tanzania. We would have been talking like brother and sister. You wouldn't have been evading me. Why were you hiding? Why were you evading me? Why were you refusing to talk to me? And I am your sister in the organization. We have stood shoulder to shoulder on the battlefield, if you like. You don't treat your sister like that. You don't treat sisters the way that you did, the way that you used to treat Ali. Oh my God. They clearly had a romantic thing going on. He used to deny it, which just used to humiliate her. Do you understand? And as much as he denied it, by that night, she'd be in his bed, up his yard, helping him with his kids. She still does, loyal to a fault, but just as twisted as he is in terms of the toxicity that she poured into that relationship, and also that spilling out into the organization. Unbelievable. I could go on and on and on and on and really like turn it inside out and talk about specifics, but I don't really want to. And I hope that has answered the questions of everybody that's been asking. I have done nothing to respect whatsoever. I've never offended him. In one of the clips, he's talking about, you know, trying to undermine my credibility by suggesting that I had called him a name, because he said, oh, many women came to him. He's talking about me. Many women haven't come to him. Talk straight, brother. Talk with your chest. You know, you say you're a man them. You're not a man, in my opinion. You know, you're a boy. And your works say that you're a boy. You know, the way that you communicate, the way that you choose to handle everything says that you're a boy to me. But at the end of the day, I'm not staying silent about it anymore. That's all it is. I've bit my tongue for 2 years, people. 2 years. And today I tell my truth about it. It's nothing sensational, but I need to put the record straight. And I need to try and understand why the very people that I've stood with, you know, when I do my thing on Dina Kai, I'm going to definitely go in and I'll show you similar receipts of me in the man's organization, standing with him, doing all these things. These are the people that come and cut their eye after me when they see me at the Black Awards. What for? Because I called you out on your hypocrisy. You know, you're hypocrites. You come for the camera and the clouts and you want to be center of attention. You want to be top dog. And anything that threatens that you feel threatened by, you vilify. You try to push it to one side and turn it into something that it isn't. He did it with Sasha, respect. All of them did it, really, when I think about it. Where were the brothers supporting that sister there? Same thing. Same thing. And what we suffer from as Black women in this country is misogynoir. The same misogyny that white feminists talk about, we suffer from it from our own black men, misogynoir. Because I guarantee that if I was a man doing this stuff, that I wouldn't be getting the level of opposition that I'd be getting from black men themselves. Black men that are innocent, black men that haven't done anything. But the reason Respect's trying to say that I started calling him names and that brought into question my credibility, because if I can say that about him, then, and that's wrong, is because I called him a perpetrator one day when we had the big argument in the meeting. I said to him, you're just a perpetrator. You don't have to talk to people. Now, perpetrator, and he went, well, I ain't a perpetrator, and started kicking off as if I'd called him a rapist and try to, again, as he does, spin the narrative, because he's an excellent spin doctor. He should actually go into work for Parliament or something in politics. He'd make a shitload of money. And I said to him, don't try to flip the script on me. You are a perpetrator. And what I meant by perpetrator was domestic violence perpetrator, because the level of controlling and coercive behavior and verbal abuse that I've seen you give to Sister Ali, you're nothing short of a perpetrator. The way that I've seen you vilify other sisters that stood with you, that you used to big up and what's the word I'm looking for? What narcissists do? It's just gone out of my mind. Look at this menopause brain. Love bomb. That's the word. The way that I've seen you love bomb that sister there. There's one particular sister that is very, very loyal to this campaign, actually, and has been one of the people in Forever Family that didn't care what he had to say. She stood for what was right and has been a big supporter of this campaign. And I saw that man take her from the sunshine of being, yeah, this sister here is the prime minister, she's this, she's that. Them in Forever Family will know who I'm talking about. To, you know, at one point, I think he even called her an agent and that she was on the side against him. And it's absolutely ridiculous. I saw this behavior from my mum. I tried to explain it to the leadership of Forever Family and they thought I was being a bit harsh. I was saying, I know a narcissist when I see one, you know? I've been around this behavior through my ex-husband, through my mum, through all of the narcissists that I've treated. I know the traits when I see one. Big time narcissist. Big time. All about him, all about his narrative, all about the way he does things. I saw the sisters in Forever Family work their butts off for no money whatsoever, just for the love, certainly not for the likes. Going through the cold and doing this whole clothing initiative, and they came to a brick wall where they wanted to expand more and get more going, and all Respect could do was hinder them, trying to control how they did it, when they did it. That's not what we're about. We're doing this instead. We're doing that instead. And actually, he was doing nothing at the time. There was a time when he just dropped himself out and just wasn't doing anything. People are going, well, what's going on? What's going on? We're having to deal with the fallout at the other end. You know, all of these things. And for me, not supporting the His Time Is Up campaign, I'm going to say it again, was personal because he made it personal. I couldn't understand it. To this day, I have no answer. He never provided one. So anybody that tries to tell me, oh, why are you getting on at Respect? What you're calling him out for? Why don't you stand in unity? How dare you? Especially this human 22 person. Shut your mouth or come on the live now. Shut your mouth, because you know nothing of what you speak of. I am there for the unity. I stood there for the unity. I begged for internal conversations because of the unity, and I was afforded nothing, absolute nothing, except 2 occasions where man attempted to abuse me verbally. Of course, that makes you a perpetrator. I didn't call you out of your name. I called you for what I saw. So don't try and flip the narrative and make it sound like I accused you of something that you're not guilty of, so therefore I'm accusing men. So do you see the connection? Therefore I'm accusing men in the community of something that they're not guilty of, and that's why I can't support the platform. You're bright and out of order, really, because you and I both know that that is not actually the case, and that is not how it went. You understand? And since that rhetoric, since all of those oppositions within what you steered as the collective mindset of Forever Family, since all of that, we've proven quite a lot. I've not seen you backpedal, my brother. I've not seen you come to me and say, you know what, if I had this wrong in the beginning. We've been to Windrush Square twice and dealt with the threats ourselves. You know, our own brother, Mega Man, pleaded with Respect to change his stance and to stop trying to influence people to not go to the march. There was a whole meeting held. Again, between him and Ali, they bamboozled me out of that meeting because they knew that they didn't want me in that meeting. It was right at the last minute before last year's march that a meeting was held there. And again, Respect and others who were now following his narrative dug their heels in and said that they were coming and influenced the mood. I heard Ali was running up her mouth only because she knew I wasn't there and there wasn't going to be any opposition to them. I was ready for that showdown, actually, by that point, because a whole year had passed, nearly, between when, because if you remember, I called it out and then I was in Tanzania and then a whole year passed and then I came back for the march. That was a whole year. So a whole year had passed at this point and I was very cognizant as to what my thoughts were about the thing. And I'd never really properly let off and spoken out to the whole group about how I feel. But I wasn't given that opportunity, actually, because I was sent one link by a more legitimate person. And at the last minute, that link was changed and I wasn't given it by people that had agendas. So I wasn't able to get into that meeting. All these little things, you know, nobody actually saying anything. If I post one of my posts in the collective group for Forever Family, it's absolute tumbleweed. And when I used to post big things before, there'd be lots of comments and people chatting to me and interacting with me. Nothing, absolute nothing. It's just a bag of foolishness. So if anyone's going to talk about division, let us put that firmly and squarely, Human 22 and whoever else, at Respect's door, because there's nobody driving a division here but him. Nobody whatsoever. You don't treat a sister like that. You don't treat other sisters like that within the organization. So when I saw that behavior reach me because of this campaign, you know, and what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? I haven't broken a single protocol within Forever Family. This might be considered breaking a protocol, what I'm doing now. But we will deal with that ourselves. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit by silently while a certain man hype up the community, draw them in with really clever rhetoric and false promises and bearing false witness and start the process all over again, because I believe that he's done this a few times in different incarnations, according to his inner circle, people that say they are part of his inner circle, who chat him behind his back. And I don't do that. You know? Big insecurities, Angor. Angor said, my dearest Afua, this brother is not at your level. His insecurity means you are his worst nightmare. Yeah, but he'd never admit it, would he? And my thing, what breaks my heart, Angor, is the fact that we had something very, very special. And this brother has eroded it and imploded it with his unscrupulous behavior. That's what's happened. It's not just about not supporting the His Time Is Up campaign. It's about what he did to something that I cared very, very dearly about. And I would love to see get back up on its feet and continue to do the good works that they'd set out to do in the first place. You know, even the fact that, you know what, like I said, I could chat a whole heap of things and I'm not going to. Because I don't want to bring the organization down and I don't want to give people too much of a peek into the inner workings of Forever Family, because I still respect the outfit. I still respect the cause. You know, I'm just not down with Respect. And unfortunately, to go from that love, you saw me there at training, you saw me there drilling, you saw me there in the uniform. You understand what I'm saying? Giving my all. You saw me there drilling with the brother in the lineup himself. Respect was there in that image. So for me to go from that to where I'm at now about that individual, something must have gone down, people. Something must have gone down. You know, something must have gone down. It's not even about him, you know, Fiona. Fiona says you are so much better off without him. I am better off without Respect, but so is the community, in my opinion, now. From going and thinking, wow, who's that you? Wow, he could really make a difference for the people, to thinking, oh, shut up. All you do is chat the same poop all over again, time and time again, regurgitate the same foolishness, and not Nagasa. Not Nagasa. Because you're not out there doing that. What have you done? What are you doing? Let's bring our CVs together, shall we? What are you really doing except chatting a lot? You know, you're very good at that. And I think there's a place for that. I think there's a place for being a good orator in our community. But stop trying to bill yourself like it's more than that, because it really isn't more than that. You didn't organize a single thing within Forever Family. Most of the time it was the sisters. And to her credit, Toxic Ali was extremely good at doing what she did when she could be bothered to do it. You know, some of the sisters would disagree with me because she tried to hamper a lot of what they were doing and she weren't doing what she was supposed to be doing and all the rest of it. But I would say that she was very good at organization. She had great organizational skills, and she was an asset to Respect in that regard. This man treated her like the shit off his shoe, believe me. And I was her biggest defender. I was the first to take him up on that, the first to keep defending her. Anytime he did it, I would pull him up. I was the woman's biggest defender. And one day she got to tell a lie upon me. And it was all in a mix-up where she was trying to, because anything that she did actually was to get Respect's attention. So she caught me up in a mix-up one time and told lies on me, and, you know, she will never admit her lies, ever. You could say you had CCTV, this woman would find a way of denying it. And from there, I dropped her out. I didn't want anything more to do with it. But I used to feel sorry for her. I used to feel sorry for her as a young girl, you know. And why are you actually putting up with this? Why are you so loyal to this individual when he deals with you? Oh my God, the things we had to witness in terms of their ugly, toxic arguments when everybody was in the meeting to create progress, get on with stuff, stick to our action plans, review what we're doing, and just do business. And we had to deal with the Ali and Respect show. It was insane. It was insane. These are the things. These are the things. And hyping in the community. Yeah, we're teaching the young girls self-defense. No, we're not. Don't lie. There are no programs out there right now teaching young girls self-defense. Those were plans that should be happening. Say that to the people. When I'm saying I'm going to do all the things that I'm doing, I'm telling you people, this is what's in the pipeline. These are our aspirations and our hopes. We recognize that we need funding to be able to do that. It's not just a pipe dream and an extension of people's egos. Stop it, my brother. Stop it. You were told. Do you understand? Stop hyping what you're not. And you're certainly not. Stop chatting all this roadman stuff as well. It's, my God, aren't you 30 already? And you're a father. Grow up. Nobody cares about all that tough man stuff. Get on with the real business of impacting the community and building sustainable legacy, which is what Forever Family was supposed to be about. That's what we all signed up for, my brother. Stop it. They mentioned Farron Paul in that clip as well. Now, I'm aware of his work. Now, that's what I'm talking about, building and leaving a legacy for your people. And he doesn't do it with bells on like you like to do. He doesn't do it with bells on. He just gets on with it, you know? And he's always bigging up. He's always living on somebody else's coattail. That's the bit that's really annoying. Be your authentic self, black man. Be your authentic self, my brother. You know? And that's the kind of hard talk that this little boy could not really take. He could not handle it. That's the type of hard talk that he needs. You know, when you got a hard ears picnic, not care how much advice you give them, they still go off and make a wreck of it their way. That's Respect. That's him all over. And the more that we tried to say, the more his ego would come out, especially when it came to me. He just couldn't take my talk, you know, at the end of the day. And I feel that he's like that with people that he knows that he's not easy, that those people are not easy to manipulate. That was my experience. So that's the reason, my brothers and sisters, that's the reason why there is enmity in the ranks, and nobody can blame me for it. I tried. I said, brother, I need to talk to you, my brother. We need to hold dialogue. I handled him like a baby in the beginning, you know? I begged for you, and I don't do that for people. Who are you? Do you know what I'm saying? You're just a little baby hurry come up that came underneath my ranks. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't even have a platform if it wasn't for us doing what we did in the community back in the day. So you can come a speaker's corner, come a nation platform, come and make your name down in the community in terms of being an activist. Other than that, you'd have been a boy in the park on a video. Show some respect. And that was my thing. Don't speak to me like that. Because there was a time he started to forget his place and talk down to me. And I had to say to him, piss into your little boy when a beard from morning. And that's a statement of fact. Do you know what I mean? Piss. I had to go like that at my own little brother. That's how dirty the little youth was going on with me. Piss into your little boy when a beard from morning. Don't think you can speak to me like that. You are younger than my oldest child. And they can't get away with it, so why could you? If I was in England right now, I'd come around and punch you in your face. I'd take off my belt and beat you, I think I remember saying to him. But the hype and the just passing your place, who does the little brother think he is? I'm not going to sit there and have it. So that created even more enmity between me and him. And, it gave him something tangible to say that he's against Afua for. But that was all created by you, brother. You're classic narcissist. Don't try to flip the script on me. I've done you nothing but serve in your concept. Our concept. I served. Did nothing but that. And you switched on me and expected me to sit there and take it. What are you switching on me for? I haven't done you anything. And to this day, you can't face me. You can never face me. All you do is throw out words in stupid little videos where you're misrepresenting yourself and hyping up yourself bigger than what you are. Forever Family deserves better leadership. Forever Family deserves to have a structure where there isn't individuals like him rocking it from the inside out and chasing people away and devaluing people's efforts and skill sets. That's what Forever Family needs. It's a wonderful organization, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. My problem is with Raspet Fire Bingy. So I'm going to put the link out. Let's see if anyone's got anything to say. Doubt it. It's the same old, isn't it? Oh dear, what's happened here? Let me try and find it. Same old. I could just, like I said, I don't want to betray too much of Forever Family itself, because if I talk too much, it's going to expose a lot more and a lot more people at the end of the day. And I don't want to do that. I haven't come here to do that. I've come to put the record straight. Because there's so much people think say, oh, even your own organization doesn't support you because you're a cyber bully and they know what you are and whatever, and all this rubbish, and nothing don't go like that. There's people that want to support it, but don't. Whenever you're in groups, you have people that are too afraid to break the mold. Let's call it that. And then you have the yes people who just follow one particular person and don't think for themselves. And then you've got the brave people who come and do their own thing anyway. And like I said, I've called the names. I big up those people. People like Sister Cookie, those sisters there, man. Sister Sean, oh my God, Lay. Those people, proper soldiers. Gavin, Abdurazak, Chris, Big Ras. Those people are true soldiers in my mind, because they break the mold and they do what is right for the community. We ain't got to like each other. Tomorrow, if Raspet was to ring me up and humble and admit where he's gone wrong and come to the table, we can have that conversation. I can talk about the fact that I'm not an easy somebody to approach, but that wasn't Raspet's problem. Raspet didn't have a problem approaching me. For some people in the organization that don't speak their mind, perhaps that's their issue, but not when it came to Raspet. We had a perfect dialogue in and out. He had no problem communicating with me. But I know I'm not an easy somebody. I know some people might find me a little bit intimidating because I'm very strong. I don't intimidate people, but some of what I say is so strong that it's not easy for some people to handle. And I totally appreciate that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the deliberate, I'm not going to say brainwashing, but the deliberate malign influencing, the underhanded influencing of a group mindset. As I said, and he's done it lots of times before, and certainly did it in relation to Sasha. And then you're dancing up at her visual. Why? Because there was cameras there, because it was a high profile event. Typical of not just that brother, but a lot of the people that was even at that visual. I thought, look at you. None of you supported that sister when she was alive. How dare you go to that visual? Are you expecting her to die? And I said it at the time when it was being debated, shall we go and represent as Forever Family or not? I said, I think it would be disingenuous because we didn't represent her in life. Now she's on her deathbed. Where would we be going? And some people felt, well, it would still be a show of solidarity because nobody wants that to happen to her. Fair enough. But not Raspet, not the way that he went in. I would have stayed away. I would have offered support to the family in that regard, and I would have stayed away because you can show that, albeit that we had differences of opinion, we support you. Do that with the family. Don't turn up at the visual and go on like you were there for the sister. That pissed me off. It really did. And it was so symbolic and indicative of, or characteristic of how Raspet operates, honestly. I'm not sure why I'm not able to put the link out tonight, people. Hey, maybe the link don't want to get heard tonight. Honestly. Ay. Let me try again. Oh, it ain't happening. Hey, this laptop tonight, people, is something else. It really, really is. Let me try and I'm tired, you know. I don't know if anyone can tell in my voice and stuff, but I am so tired at the moment. This might work. I'd like to hear from people. I'd like to hear from Human. You know, you were quite abusive in the comments, actually, talking about bringing black man down. You know, that old chestnut people. How many black men have we had on here that we support? I had a beautiful conversation today with a beautiful brother about some difficulties that he's facing around a certain female. And, you know, he was like, wow, I was so nervous trying to contact you. And I was thinking, my God, what if I contact her and next minute she's got my stuff up and accusing me of rape? Because this is a perception that, you know, if you talk to Afua and as a man, she's just going to twist the story and put up your face and say that you're a rapist. I mean, come on, people, man. I got a son. I got brothers. I've got nephews. I've got brethrens. Come on, man. Anyone who knows me, that I've been the biggest advocate for black men and black boys, you know, but I don't need to justify myself with that. I know my works, but it's all that kind of stuff. And nothing could be further from the truth. And you saw me there within, what is going on tonight? I don't know why I can't copy and paste tonight, people. Look, I don't think anyone, tell me if anyone wants to jump on. Put a 1 if you want to jump on and join the conversation tonight and put your 10 cents in. Put a 1 up if you want to do that. Because right now, this isn't copying and pasting. I'm going to try and make it happen. Don't ask me what's going on with my stuff at the moment. Wow. There we are. Your 1 ain't going up anyway. But there is the stream link, people. I actually feel good about getting all that off my chest because I don't want to hear about it from now on. Don't nobody else ask me about what's going on between me and Forever Family now. Sick of it. Do you know what I mean? Now you've got your answers. All of you that had misconceptions, I hope this satisfies you. Yeah, electric human and cocoa butter. That's right. Come on and say something, man. You had a lot to say earlier. Now that I've told you what it is, instead of you asking me in the bloody comments, I hate when people do that. I'll put out a video saying, watch the live, I'm going to explain everything. And they say, what are you saying? Your caption says this. And you're thinking, watch the live. That's what I said. Don't jump to conclusions. Watch the bloody live. Just watch it. You know? Unbelievable anyway. But no takers. We're at 2.5 hours now. I've literally sat here and rambled on for 2 hours, people. If we're not getting any takers, I'm going to jump off. I really hope that tells a story. I don't feel like it does fully. But I don't really want to get into too much of the mudslinging. I wanted to give you an overview and a backdrop so you could get a context and get an idea as to how I view not only respect from family, because I still believe that if that boy was to come and heal, that he could actually be a great leader. He could become that. My problem is that he's saying that he's already that, and he's putting out an image that is actually so far from the truth. It bothers me. Black people have been ripped off too much. We've been lied to too much. We've got too much of that going on in our community in terms of our black leadership. So I don't appreciate anybody who stands up in a leadership position in our community. And, you know, I'm not saying that he's put himself there or he's calling himself a leader, because many of us don't. We just do what we want to do. I believe he is passionate about the community. I believe that in his mind, his heart is in the right place. But he has made some major errors in the community. He needs a check on his own inner self, a check on his personality traits, a check on why it is that you deal and view and interact with women in the way that you do. And, you know, we can all grow from those things. None of us born big. None of us arrived at where we are in terms of our seasoning overnight. Yeah, you lot should have met me at 18. Different creature. You know, I was wild in terms of, I was an activist, but my methods, I'd be getting a lot more backlash if I was still like that. So I'm not saying that people can't grow in it. I'm just saying, just stop the bullshit, brother. Stop the bullshit. Stop misrepresenting. Stop trying to bring down what we're doing. And even in that video as well, he mentioned something about, you know, I heard some man say they know man like that. We don't. He knows who he's talking about when he says that. And he knows that if he takes that one too far or even calls that brother's name, that it really wouldn't be a good idea for him to do that personally whatsoever. So I don't know how comes you're brightening up yourself to try to throw word on that brother there. And you and I, Braspect, know who he is. You know who you were throwing word on that day about we don't know men like that. The point the brother was making is that with all these call outs and all the stories that they've heard even from around their own circles, we all know men like that. That was the point. It wasn't that that's your brethren and we don't know men like that. How naive to believe that you don't. It just shows the lack of the grip that you have on these subjects. So if you can't admit these things and you can't admit that you too chase people in terms of their demonic activity with women, you say you stand for that, then the question has to be asked why you don't stand for it when it comes onto the His Time Is Up campaign. Because you can't say that it's because of the things you say it's because of. You do the same things yourself. It's a double standard. Don't say you want evidence and then you're out chasing paedophiles with little to no evidence at all. Don't say that, because that is a double standard and that makes you a hypocrite. That's what I'm saying. Don't present yourself as something that you are not, because we know that you're not. We know that you were shook of Quincy. You were shook of the man them in Brixton. You didn't want to be in that situation where people, where the heat was there, because believe me, there's been heat for the His Time Is Up campaign. Forever Family ain't never faced no heat, you know, and you're supposed to be standing up as soldiers, forever family, and we're going out there, people thinking we're some sort of paramilitary vanguard for the community, and you can't stand up to a couple man from Brixton. Do me a favor. And you can't support a sister, a woman that decides that she's going to stand up for it. A woman. I ain't no army. I'm just a woman. I'm just your sister. Nobody can tell me that's right. Nobody can tell me that it's right that me as a black woman in this community and the sisters that stood with us as black women in this community have to look outside for protection, and our own men ain't giving it to us, not just in the community, but in the very organization that you've served. Nobody can tell me that ain't right. So when these people are asking me, why should he support you? Well, he damn well should, because I support the cause and I am his comrade. Of course he should. You can't have a battalion or an army and you've got the sergeant of the army telling you that he's not going to support one of the soldiers, the foot soldiers that's been fighting the war for the country, for Queen and country. You understand? You can't tell me that's right. Nobody can convince me that that is right. So whoever wants to try and defend that, you're a jackass just like the people that are perpetrating it. Foolishness. How do you justify that? And this man does not want to answer that question. Avoids that question at all costs. Tries to come with a different narrative, a front narrative that he wants people to buy into. How very dare you? You're bright and out of order. I've told you to your face already, you're bright and out of order. I've told you you're a gamer from time and that you're not pulling the wool over our eyes anymore. You've clearly still got a lot of people in the community sucked in. You know, they defend you blindly, just like so many other people. And it is what it is. You know, but I'm a person that I don't try to pretend that I am what I'm not. I'm not going to sit here on some lofty heights judging people, talking about paedophiles, man that beat up women and whatever, and not tell you my own story, not talk about my own shortcomings. You know, if I can't deliver something, I'll say, do you know what? I'm so sorry. I can't deliver it. Somebody asked about the lives earlier on, the membership lives. I promised ages ago that you were going to get more content. I feel bad about that. I'm not going to try and dress it up, push it on a narrative that doesn't even exist, just to make it look bigger and better than what it is and make myself look bigger and better and more active. I'm just not going to do that. And I don't appreciate anybody in our community that does. I am going to tell the Dina Kai story because that's another question. What's going on with you and Dina Kai? Why? I will tell that because he's another one. He's another disingenuous individual that did not support us. In fact, he's worse than Respect because he said that he would. We need our brothers in the community to support us. And as an activist that's been affiliated with these people over the years, of course I went to my brothers. I saw two brothers from the nation that I have a long history of activism with and around at the Black Awards. There was nothing but love. I went up to them, they hugged me, I hugged them. When one of the brothers won an award himself, I stood up, I gave standing ovation because I think he absolutely deserved it. I've never had a question on his activism. I've just got a question on why you're running away, my brother. But at least they had conversations with me. At least one of them told me why. Do you understand? And the other one, I got him at the Black Awards and I said, brother, I've been trying to contact you for 2 years, bro. He went, oh yeah, you know, I contacted your sister. What's she got to do? We don't even speak. Why didn't you answer my calls? So it's all this stuff. People are ducking and diving and hiding and trying it. And that's okay for those brothers that I used to work with. That's okay for the brothers in the community that I know that no longer call me and don't answer my calls anymore. That's okay for you lot, but not the comrade that I stood up in an auspicious organization like Forever Family. The heart and the divine intervention that went into the making of that, I ain't gonna let it slide. So that's what it is, people. No one's joining on the link. There it is. Yeah, it is what it is. So I'm gonna get off. I hope that answers your questions. I'm really unhappy that people don't want to come in. They've got so much to say on the Instagram and they don't ever want to come and have the conversation. Even if they've been put right, they haven't got the dignity or the balls to come up and say, do you know what, Afua, I actually was wrong on this occasion. I was wrong. You know, if I'm wrong about something, I will say I am wrong once I realize that I've stood corrected. But we don't have the same reciprocal arrangement with everybody in our community. My brothers and sisters, that is it. Next week, we're going to get back to cases. Expect there to be a short break because I'm looking to get away. If it's not the end of the year, it'll be early next year. Expect next year to look a little bit different to what we've been doing now, but it will still be regular and it will still be updated. And keep on giving because we're going to be actually rolling out, we're looking to roll out a series of fundraisers across the year, but fundraisers where you know, the public people can actually have something tangible for that fundraiser because we realize that not everybody wants to donate. While we're setting up and putting ourselves in positions where we can buy for funding, it doesn't mean that the work has to stop while we're doing that in the background. It means that we can still do things and fundraise for next year's March and for the expansion in the way that we did. But look out for bulletins on that. Usual donation ways, Cash App, whatever. The moderators will keep you up to date with that. My head's so tired, I can't even think of what those things are called right now. And I hope that this has been put to bed. I hope that the brother takes heed from what I'm saying, because I don't say it with hatred in my heart. I don't hate the brother. I really don't. I just feel sad that he's a hardy as youth. That's for me what it is, you know. He's a hardy as youth. No one take no talk. And that's the issue. Cut yourself down, brother, man. Stay in your lane. It's as simple as that. We do. But yeah, I don't have no hatred for the brother. I just think that he's misguided. And I wish that he'd speak the truth and stop hyping. That's all it is, brothers and sisters. Don't nobody ask me again after this, otherwise I'm going to diss you. Anyone who comes back with that, you're not going to like my answer. Not going to like my answer, people. Look out for the bulletins because there's a lot of exciting things happening. There's a lot going on in the background. I do want to say, actually, because I've had some other DMs this week, I do want to say I was not arrested last week because of Tony Clark. He wished. I was not arrested because of Kwame. He wished. I was not arrested by, it was nothing to do with any of the paedophile or rapists that I've called out on this platform, but it is a story you're familiar with. That's as much as I can tell you for now. When it is all done and dusted, I will tell that story fully. But at the moment, that's as much as I can say. I'm not at liberty to say. When it's all corrected, I will. So I just want to put that straight because everyone's guessing and wondering. And I think somebody on the page today said I'd been arrested for cyberbullying and I got court case. No, gossa. The only court case I have is the Tony Clark thing. That's been ongoing forever. And we look forward, actually. There's a date that's been set for the trial, people. And that is going to be the 20th of March. So rally up, because in the lead up to that, we definitely want to put a presence outside that courthouse. Let me tell you. And we're allowed to as well, because with defamation cases, they're open. You can report from the court. You can tweet from the court. It's all open. So I can't wait to put the details of that out there and talk about the journey. But at the moment, we're not. We've got to keep it stum. Let's get to March 20th, and we'll see what goes on from there. But put that as a date in your diary, people. Have a blessed, 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 blessed weekend. And I will see you guys again next week. Blessed love, my people. Blessed love. I have a feeling we're going to revisit this a bit more thoroughly. It will probably be, for me, in the form of a members live, which I think I probably will do a members live on this, actually, so I can go more in depth. But in terms of what the public want to hear and those that have been asking, I hope that answers your questions. My people, I will see you guys next week. Blessed love. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, stay inspired, and keep talking. Blessed love. Blessed love. Blessed love.